Well, thanks for joining us and a good afternoon. We've watched Rita rapidly intensifying over the last 12 hours. Now a Category 2 storm that jumped from about 85 mile per hour maximum sustained winds all the way up to 100 in the last 2 or 3 hours. The pressure continues to drop, and as long as that pressure drops, the winds will now follow. The storm is now due south of Key West and heading into the Gulf of Mexico. Let me show you the latest radar from Key West. And very fortunately for the residents there of the Keys, notice a lot of the dry air that got sucked up through the Keys. We haven't seen a lot of flooding, at least from the rains. The storm surge, yes, but not from the rain itself. The eye of the storm still trying to get itself more organized, but the northern half of the storm is not as strong as the southern half. I know the coastline of Cuba has been getting raked with very strong winds, heavy storm surge, and also a little bit of flooding from the actual rainfall. So they've got a lot worse than we have here throughout the lower Keys. Now we're watching the center of the storm. The strongest winds continue to be in these red bands on the south side of the storm. But if you watch the last couple of frames, it's beginning to fill in here on the eastern half. And once this wraps completely around, that's when we'll probably be watching a major Category 3 hurricane as it moves out of Key West. So the winds are going to stay up in Key West probably for the next 6 to 12 hours at least. After that, things will slowly begin to improve. They're already improving in the Miami area. It looks like after tomorrow, then it's going to be the Gulf's problem, as we're going to continue to watch a potential major hurricane, Category 3 at least, possibly a Category 4, right now with its eyes set on the Texas coast. Stay tuned. The new update from the Hurricane Center will be out shortly. I'll bring you the latest conditions and also the latest forecast track.
I'm here right now in the MSNBC Satellite Center where we're monitoring the images from Hurricane Rita. We've been seeing those gale force winds, of course, throughout. Right now the storm just about 50 miles south of the Keys, but we've been monitoring it with all of our affiliates throughout the afternoon. Now NBC's Michelle Hofflin is right now in New Orleans, where the storm-weary residents are preparing once again for what could be another bout with the elements. Michelle?
Well, Alexis, a storm here, another hurricane is the last thing that the people here need. You see, this restaurant, the owners came back a couple days ago to begin trying to reopen the place. Well, now, see this plywood? They're getting ready to put the plywood back up on the windows, board things up, and then they are planning to evacuate. And over in St. Bernard Parish, one of the areas most devastated by the last hurricane, Hurricane Katrina, the sheriff there told me they are evacuating today. There are about 1,200 construction workers, some environmental engineers, and a handful of family people that have returned to that area. Those people are being told to evacuate today. The mayor in New Orleans is trying to track down 200 buses to get the people who have returned to some of the neighborhoods around here, to get them back out of town to some evacuation places. He says right now that he has 150 of those buses. He's not ordering a mandatory evacuation right now, but he says prepare and get ready to leave. And then the governor of Louisiana is also telling people throughout this state to prepare. You don't have to leave right now, but prepare to leave in the next couple of days. But, you know, even if the eye of the storm doesn't hit this area, this is the last thing that the people here need. You have to realize it. Even though this part of the street is cleaned up right now, throughout the area in this whole city, throughout this whole region, there is debris all over the place. Any amount of winds will send that debris flying. We also, this building and so many others, the roofs have been ripped off by the last hurricane. Any rain will send the water into there and make things that were trying to die out, make those wet all over again. Alexis, back to you.
Thank you very much. NBC's Michelle Hofflin in New Orleans. Now, as Hurricane Rita moves closer to the Texas coast, officials there, of course, are preparing for the worst as well. Joining me on the phone right now is Richard Knappick. He is the mayor of Bay City, Texas. Good afternoon.
Hello, Alexis. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I hope you guys are doing well. We were just speaking to the mayor of Freeport, Texas, just a short while ago about what kind of preparations and evacuation procedures they have started. Tell us what plans you've put into place at this point.
Currently, we just had a meeting with all our city department heads to assess where we are to make sure all fuel tanks are filled up, emergency tanks are full, all batteries and cones and everything else, everything that is ready and necessary to, if the evacuation order is issued by our county judge. Our county emergency management team, which is made up of the county judge, myself, the mayor of Palacios, our sheriff, police chief, and fire chiefs, along with the emergency preparedness team from our nuclear plant, we'll be getting together shortly at about 4 o'clock Central Daylight Time, and we'll be making these decisions. But as of now, there are no evacuation orders in Matagorda County. We're just kind of sitting tight, but everybody's getting prepared. Families are beginning to make plans, boarding up windows, going to the store and shopping for the necessary items. So that's what's happening right now in Bay City.
You know, you mentioned a very valid point, and that is, you know, gas consumption, a nuclear plant. You know, one of the biggest, you know, problems during Hurricane Katrina, obviously, was the shutdown in the Gulf with oil production and gasoline. What is it that you're telling your citizens right now who are still at home? What are the kinds of things that they need to do in this next couple of days?
Well, the next couple of days, they need to really monitor the strength of the storm. I understand it's been upgraded to a Category 2. And I think as it progresses along the Gulf, it'll probably pick up, you know, strength and speed to a Category 3 or possibly Category 4. I think in the instance here, we would encourage citizens to make plans to find other shelters, you know, further up the country, either in the hill country or elsewhere, and make plans to evacuate now. Make sure all their proper paper, they take the, you know, their important papers, and that their house is secure, and so that when they come back, you know, there'll be something to come back to. So, but we don't want to panic any of the citizens just yet. We all understand the gravity of the situation. Anyone who lives along the Gulf Coast realizes that these things like this can come in. So people are going about their business in orderly fashion. So hopefully we can continue that.
I completely understand the need of, and the fear of panicking any of your residents. Although, you know, as we talked about earlier with the mayor of Freeport, there is some part of me that listens to what's going on in the Keys right now. And for all of us who are watching it, it's turning out not to be quite as bad as perhaps we thought, with the storm really being south of the Keys. And we seem to feel that it is very reminiscent to the situation we were in with Hurricane Katrina, when it was just a Category 1 coming through Florida. So is there a part of you, though, that wants to make sure that people are not too complacent as they watch what's going on in the Keys?
I think you're exactly right. I think Hurricane Katrina taught us valuable lessons. Number one, being prepared, sticking to your evacuation and your emergency plans. And I don't think anyone's going to be complacent. You know, no number of the city employees were discussing about what to do with their families. We're talking about moving our first responders about 30 miles up the road to our neighboring city in Wharton to ride out the storm so they can be close enough to come back in if, in fact, the storm strikes here, because we'll have to assess damage and see what needs to be done. So I don't think anyone in this part of the world, right now, Bay City is hosting 1,000 evacuees from Hurricane Katrina. We've all heard the first-hand horror story, so I think no one in our part of the world will take this storm lightly. I mean, they're all watching it very closely, and I believe if, in fact, that the county judge should order evacuations, I think people will leave in an orderly fashion. So,
well, Mayor Knappich, we wish you the very best of luck.
Well, thank you very much.
And here's Natalie.
Well, Alexis, thank you. As the Florida Keys now are feeling the effects right now from Hurricane Rita, WTVJ's Patricia Andreo filed this report just moments ago from the Middle Keys of Tavernier, Florida.
We decided to get out of the car to show you a little bit of the flooding that we've seen. This is a dead-end road here. That's a good thing for now, because it looks like it's virtually impassable. For as far as we can see, it looks like water's just covered up this entire road here. How come you decided to stay?
We always stay. Where would we go? If you leave, you can't get back in, and that's a problem. So we always stay.
Now we see some flooding right here. Does this typically flood, or is this the worst you've seen in a while?
This is the worst I've seen it, yeah, in a long time. And I've been here 9 years, and this is the worst I've seen it. It's almost up in my house.
Are you concerned that, you know, Rita is a Hurricane 1, but we still haven't really felt the brunt of Rita's wrath just yet? Are you concerned what might happen seeing the flooding right now?
The tide's going out now. We had an extremely high tide here, and that's why it's all flooded out. I've never seen it this high before, but it's receding. You can see it was all the way up the street before, but it's going out now.
We have generators and we have cisterns so for water, so if, you know, if the water gets shut off. We're on gas stove, so I think we'll be fine. I mean,
you consider yourself a hurricane expert?
Well, I mean, we've been here. I mean, I'm born in '87, so ever since then we've never evacuated. We missed Andrew because we were on vacation, but we've never evacuated, so we've been lucky so far.
Well, hopefully you'll be lucky this time around too. Thanks so much for talking to us.
And that was Patricia Andreo reporting from WTVJ. And coming up, we're going to check in once again in Key West with NBC's Donna Gregory as the storm picks up steam as it rushes past the into the Gulf Coast right now. Stay with us. You're watching MSNBC.
MSNBC Tonight. Maybe not from new taxes, but see how Katrina's billion-dollar cleanup could cost you big in other ways. Hardball. MSNBC Tonight at 5. Tonight, nearly 4,500 sex offenders unaccounted for after Katrina. From Louisiana to your town, how are they being hunted down? Countdown. MSNBC Tonight at 8.
Do you, Morgan Ambrose Robert, take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife?
Of course, that very much depends on what you mean by the question, do you? Forward-looking statements involve risk and uncertainties. We're opening up a can of worms here. No single answer readily presents itself. I mean, have we really explored every avenue? Have the parties made certain representations, warranties, and agreements in connection with the merger? Do the parties agree to be subject to the satisfaction of the regulatory approvals as required to consummate the transaction? Who amongst us will ever know?
I do. I pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Less talk. Make it happen. The Royal Bank of Scotland Group.
You wish you could do in real life. Now you can do at VX.com. Roadmap to the automotive world.
Comcast.
Pay-per-view.
The NHL is back. NHL Center Ice is your ticket to get inside the NHL with up to 40 games a week outside your local area. Don't miss the intensity of increased rivalry, great new rules, and no more ties. The shootout is on NHL Center Ice. Order by October 31st and get NHL Center Ice for $129.
Don't wait. Bring your team home now and order all the action on In Demand. Call today.
Hey guys, y'all set? Y'all buckled in here? Bye-bye, Eddie.
So how was the first day?
You know, I think my dad was wrong. Maybe I do have a future as a ski bum.
Retirement isn't an end. It's the start of what you were meant for all along. So grab your skis and say, hello, future. Call your advisor about the powerful resources of Lincoln Financial Group.
Welcome. The rules in Finlandestein, Albaniastein are quite unique. I hope you had a chance to review them.
It's tennis. How different can it be?
It's not easy being out of your element, especially when it comes to insurance and investing. Genworth Financial and your financial professional can help you understand your choices and then make the right ones, so you'll be ready for whatever the future throws your way. MSNBC Business Headlines of the Day is brought to you by Genworth Financial, built on GE Heritage.
We now know that the eye of Hurricane Rita will not make landfall in Florida or on its island chain, but the rain and the winds are still very heavy in some areas. So right now we want to take you out to NBC's Donna Gregory, who is live in Key West with the latest on all of that. Donna, what's the scene there like right now?
Hi, Melissa. We are getting sustained tropical storm force winds, and occasionally we will get a hurricane force wind gust. We're actually holding on at times to things that are stationary because it's difficult to stand up with this heavy wind blowing. You can see behind me, this looks like a river of water in the street. This is some of that low-level flooding that they were concerned about here in Key West. They're especially concerned about the south part of the island getting those southerly winds as the storm moves to the west and south of us. They're worried about a storm surge of between 6 and 9 feet. So that's something that the officials here are definitely keeping an eye on. We have seen flooding on several streets, specifically on the western side of the island around the airport, and also north of here on mile marker 73 in Isla Mirada. They had roads completely submerged. Water was covering the roads. It was washing some of the lobster traps literally out of the water and up onto the roadways. There's all kinds of debris that was splashing into cars. We're also seeing what can only be described, Melissa, as a party atmosphere here. There are people who are walking up and down the streets. They have drinks in their hand, they're walking their pets. They're still riding by on their bicycles with these tropical storm force winds. Now, these are people who have been told to evacuate their homes here 5 times in the last 2 years. Many of them stuck it out through Hurricane Katrina just a few weeks ago. It was only a Category 1 storm when it came through here and then bounced back and smacked them again. And these people lost power for a few days and didn't see any major damage. So a lot of the people who decided to stay are people who simply rode out that last storm and thought Category 1's not going to be too bad. Well, keep in mind, this is a Category 2. We're feeling these winds here, and we're seeing some minor debris floating by. We've seen a few transformers blow. There is power out on many parts of the island here. But all in all, they're saying that they were overly prepared for this storm. The local officials say they're very happy for the state and federal assistance that they've received in advance of the storm. There's an emergency operations center up and running where the FEMA operators are here, the Red Cross is here, branches of the military are here, all in anticipation of any cleanup they'll have to do. There is power out, as I mentioned, and they will not send power crews out here to restore it until the hospitals have reopened. And that'll happen once officials determine that it's safe to get all of these emergency responders back on the road. Again, there are people who are still milling around there just out of camera range. And one of those that we've decided to talk to is someone from England. This is Andre Beard. He is not in his hurricane gear because he was not planning on being here for a hurricane. You were here for a fishing trip. Tell us, how did this hurricane take you by surprise?
I got down here and we were all asked to leave, but I had nowhere else to go, so decided that this hotel's been up here for the last nearly 100 years, so it should be okay. And all the staff seemed happy to stay here, and they've really looked after me well.
So for people who have never experienced anything like this, how would you describe it?
It's quite inspiring.
Inspiring in what way? As if you don't want to do this again?
Yeah, I think I might head somewhere else as soon as I know next time, but the party atmosphere has been really good and everybody's really looked after me, albeit not quite the fishing trip I'd anticipated.
Well, hopefully you'll catch something once the storm waters churn up some fish for you. Andre, thanks so much for standing out in the rain and talking with us.
That's okay.
So definitely a spirit of camaraderie here, Melissa, among the folks who did decide to stay. They're riding out the storm, and hopefully the worst is behind us. We are seeing some of these winds that you can see behind me, but this is the fiercest it's been all day, and from the looks of the satellite imagery and radar, most of this will be sliding past us in the next few hours. Melissa?
Donna, you talk about that party atmosphere. I mean, a lot of that probably because the worst of the storm is behind you. Otherwise, it would be a completely different scenario and a different scene there. Who are the types of people that did stay behind, that didn't get out? Because we heard, you know, an estimated 30,000 people did get out.
The official estimate here is about half. Half of the residents decided to stay. Between 40 and 50% of the folks did decide to leave. And it is a huge cross-section of people who are here. You have homeless people that we have literally seen walking down the street with all of their possessions. You have young college-age student types that are here just for the party atmosphere. We've seen families with children driving by, honking at us and letting us know that they're safe. And we've seen stranded travelers like Andre, whom you just met, and business owners who decided to stay and protect their property. They've boarded up, and now they're just going to the few places that are open. And then we've just seen normal, everyday folks just walking into the establishments that are open, sitting down just so they have somewhere to be, somewhere to sit that's warm and dry. The power is out in this part of the island, but there's still music playing on a battery-operated machine inside the hotel. They're still serving food and cocktails to the people, so they are sort of fostering that party atmosphere for the people who have decided to stay. And you can see behind me, there's all kinds of transportation here still working. People are on their bikes. We did see some people surfing behind a pickup truck on a little kneeboard. So they're definitely making the best of what could have been a bad situation, but again, they feel they were overly prepared, and that's a good thing in this case. Melissa?
All right. I don't want to see any surfing from Donna Gregory. Keep on holding on to that trash can next to you. Thanks so much for the update.
I'll do it off camera.
Alexis.
Louisiana evacuees who headed to Houston are now on the move once again. The threat of Hurricane Rita is forcing them to go to new shelters in the event that the Texas coast takes a direct hit. Lisa Baldwin of our NBC affiliate KPRC in Houston has more.
saying, a storm coming. You have to leave. You can't be here.
For the second time in several weeks, Precious Spencer and her 1-month-old baby are being forced to evacuate because of a storm. The first time was when Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans. Now it's because Rita is aiming for the Gulf Coast.
If I'm here, hopefully I'll survive Rita, and I'll be wearing another shirt saying I survived Rita and Katrina.
She and other hurricane evacuees are now packing up their belongings and leaving the Reliant Arena. Monday night, hundreds of people were told they would be moved to a new shelter at Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, or they could find their own places to live.
I done been through it once. You know, I've been upset all night long. But praise God, I'm getting out of here.
Audrey Moore feels blessed that she survived Katrina, but now believes officials are using Rita as an excuse to kick evacuees out of Houston.
And for one thing, if the storm is not going to hurt the resident, the people that's living here, why should it hurt us? Why we got to leave?
And while most evacuees are upset and searching for other living arrangements, Clementine Smith is heading to Arkansas along with her friends and neighbors from New Orleans.
Because we don't have no money and we going to the place they sent us at until New Orleans open back up.
And that was Lisa Baldwin of our NBC affiliate KPRC in Houston reporting. And again, we want to remind you that we are awaiting a briefing from New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin, as well as the Vice Admiral in charge of the recovery efforts, Thad Allen. They're going to be briefing there shortly in New Orleans. But joining us right now is NBC's Jay Gray with a preview and also to talk about the preparations now underway, just in case the worst could happen there with Rita headed to the Gulf Coast. Hello to you, Jay.
Hey, Melissa, and yeah, you're absolutely right. They're expected to speak any moment now, and they're expected to be on the same page. You know, there had been a lot of back and forth between the federal government and local officials here, but now everyone warning the people here that they need to move to higher ground to get out. We've seen people today packing up and heading out. There is a lot of confusion, though, and frustration. As you might imagine, communication not that great right now. A lot of people don't have access to a television or a radio, and so they're trying to spread the word as best they can. But people were brought back in, thousands told they could come home yesterday, and only to be told they need to turn around now, head back out. That is frustrating for some who have said they left hotel rooms that they're sure are now occupied. They left shelters that are being closed. So there's a real concern for those people over what they do now. And they've been told by state officials, the governor even saying that, hey, you've got to find a friend, you've got to find somebody, and you don't need to go to Texas. A lot of these people came from Houston. Obviously, they're not going to go back there now. It looks like this storm, Rita, is tracking toward the Texas Gulf Coast. So they're being told to go up north through Louisiana and try and find someone there to stay with, try and find a room. But as you might imagine, it's the same thing they faced several weeks ago when they were trying to evacuate. There just aren't enough rooms to fill that demand.
And Jay, oh good, I can talk to you now. Jay, I mean, clearly when you talked about kind of the situation there with Ray Nagin and Vice Admiral Thad Allen, there was some tension earlier today when we heard as well that Ray Nagin said that Vice Admiral Allen had spoken out of line and talking about the city of New Orleans and the preparations there for Rita. Are you getting the sense, you talked about them being on the same page, was politics involved, or is this just a mayor now just trying to do what's best for his city?
I think there's a little bit of both, Melissa, if we're going to be honest about it. I think there are some politics involved, but I also think that Ray Nagin feels like the federal government abandoned him at his deepest, darkest hour, and now they want to step in and try and swoop up the glory, if you will, for trying to help New Orleans recovery. He feels like, hey, I've been here through the storm, I've been here to try and help my people, and they're not going to take the lead at this point. I'm the one who's talking for the people who elected me. He's very frustrated, but he also realizes that he must have the help from the federal government to make things work here. He was very aggressive with his reentry plan. He wanted to see more than a third of the city's residents back into this city. Now, of course, he's telling them to get out. Let's go to Natalie now, though, with more. Natalie?
All right, Jay Gray there in New Orleans. Thanks so much, Jay. And also want to let you know that that briefing has been delayed a little bit because we're hearing that the Mayor Ray Nagin and Vice Admiral Thad Allen were on board the USS Iwo Jima along with President Bush when he was briefed about the status of Hurricane Rita, and we understand that they're now just making their way off of the Iwo Jima and are headed to that area where they're going to be speaking there shortly. So we'll be sure to bring you that news conference as it begins now about 15 minutes away. Melissa. We'll be back after a short break. More coverage of Hurricane Rita.
Market Wrap is brought to you by A.G. Edwards, caring for investors' nest eggs for 118 years.
Objective financial advice. It's right for any nest egg, regardless of size. A.G. Edwards. For 118 years, fully invested in our clients.
The HP Blade System server powered by Intel Xeon processors. Consolidation made easy.
You challenged everything that came before you, and nothing looked or felt or sounded the same way again. That was you then, and the great thing is, that's still you now. We are the personal advisors of Ameriprise Financial, the next generation of American Express financial advisors. Because a generation as unique as this needs a new generation of personal financial planning.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, State Farm understands the devastating toll of this catastrophe, and we're here to help. If you're a State Farm customer who needs to file a claim but have been displaced and can't reach your State Farm agent, contact any State Farm agent near your current location or call 1-800-SF-CLAIM. That's 1-800-732-5246 or visit statefarm.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Let's go, girls!
Go places this weekend at 50% off. Rent Friday to Monday, 50% off. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
MSNBC Tonight. Rita finds out how Michael Jackson wants to help victims of Hurricane Katrina. Direct from the King of Pop's dad, Joe Jackson. And you won't believe who's already signed on to participate. Rita Cosby live and direct. MSNBC Tonight at 9.
Welcome back to MSNBC. I'm right now in the satellite operations area of MSNBC where we continue to look at live pictures down in the Keys. We just received a new filing from Patricia Andreu, who was located further north. She has made her way down in the Keys. She's right now in Isla Mirada. And let's take a look at her report from WTVJ in Miami.
We're here in Isla Mirada at around mile marker 85. You can see we're feeling that gust of wind, the rain. The feeder band must be coming through here now because it's really intensifying. Let's take a look right over here. This is the ocean side of the water. Just look at that water, how it's coming up, lapping up. This area, you can tell, has been flooded so far during Rita because you can see all the seaweed that's just been washed up and all this, the wooden planks and everything just washed up right here in the parking lot area. If you take a look right over there, so you can see how it's intensifying right now, just coming off from the east to the west direction. We've seen that sign up there, the seafood buffet sign. You can see how it's rocking back and forth. I'm not sure if that sign is going to survive Rita's winds, although there are lines trying to tether it down to the ground, but that's been shaking quite a bit. Again, you can see the wind intensifying just over here. Let's take a look again and see how the water's just spraying and coming on. Of course, the storm surge, very much an issue for the whole Keys. Okay, we just moved a couple of miles south here still in Isla Mirada along the Overseas Highway. We wanted to make another stop here at this fishing place to show you, first of all, the sheets of rain coming in almost horizontally here. But also, as we get closer to the water, the rain is really pelting now. You can see the pelicans right off of there riding out Rita in the water. Interesting to see how Mother Nature works and how various species respond to this kind of hurricane weather here.
And we want to tell you that in about 15 minutes or so, the National Hurricane Center will have its latest, very latest advisory. So do stay with us for that because we'll get the latest update on Hurricane Rita. And when we come back, we want to take you to the Florida Keys where we will have a report from there. Stay with us on MSNBC.
Promise Buttery Spread helps maintain a healthy heart when eaten instead of butter or margarine. And now it's rich with heart health essentials like omega-3 and vitamins B6 and 12. Plus, there's no trans fat and lots of creamy, buttery taste. In fact, it's our healthiest and tastiest buttery spread yet. No wonder hearts are beating louder. New Promise Buttery Spread, taking your health to heart.
You see him in your rearview mirror, and suddenly you're the world's best driver. You hit the brakes, hang up the cell phone, use your turn signal. Sound familiar? Allstate knows there's a good driver in each of us. A police car shouldn't be the only thing that brings it out. So Allstate cuts safe drivers a break, up to 20%. Reward works better than punishment. That's Allstate stand. Are you in good hands?
You buy ginger ale at Walmart's everyday low prices. It arrived on a Walmart truck and traveled over 140 miles from a Walmart distribution center, where it was processed by over 1,000 Walmart associates and moved over 10 miles of conveyor, with over 230,000 cases that same day. Why send ginger ale through one of the most efficient distribution systems ever conceived? To keep prices low for you, and we're all proud to be a part of it.
I fight a war that never stops. I work in infectious diseases at GlaxoSmithKline. You know how hard it is to find a new drug? Think of it this way. One of these snowflakes will fight one kind of infection and be safe enough for people to take. A scientist here could work through 1 million compounds and find only one new drug. And then we start again, because bacteria develop resistance and new viruses appear. The war never stops.
GlaxoSmithKline. Today's medicines finance tomorrow's miracles.
All I want is a room somewhere, a business trip beyond compare. Hampton keeps me on my game. Folks who care and know my name. All I want is all the comforts that I need, helping me to succeed. Wouldn't it be lovely?
These are my closest friends. We laugh together, cry together, play together, even our kids play together. But when it comes to our nutritional needs, we couldn't be farther apart.
That's why we've made Centrum so complete. With such a full range of nutrients, each of their bodies can put Centrum to work in the way that's best to help them stay as healthy as the day they met.
We've always been there for each other, and we're going to do everything we can to keep it that way.
With Centrum, you're more complete from A to Zinc.
MSNBC Up to the Minute is brought to you by Centrum.
And welcome back to MSNBC. Right now, we are seeing live pictures of Marine One, President Bush, who is arriving as we speak in New Orleans. He was on the USS Iwo Jima. He was also speaking to business leaders in both Mississippi and New Orleans. This is his 5th visit to the Gulf Coast. He is now boarding, he will be boarding Air Force One and heading back to Washington, D.C. Now let's go over to Tallahassee, Florida, where Governor Jeb Bush is speaking.
Place for all of Monroe County, and tropical storm warnings are in place for the southwest coast of Florida. Earlier today, President Bush granted Florida an emergency declaration, for which we're very grateful. South Florida residents should remain vigilant. We say this for each one of the storms that we have to deal with in our state. It is more dangerous after a storm than during a storm. Please continue to shelter in place. Don't drive in these conditions. There's still tropical force winds throughout the region, and it's not safe, and it makes it harder for law enforcement officers that are doing assessment of damage to do their jobs when people, and to quickly respond to any emergencies if people are getting out of their homes too early. There are 3 special needs shelters open, 2 in Broward County and 1 in Miami-Dade, serving 104 of Florida's most frail and vulnerable citizens. Each shelter, by the way, is staffed with medical personnel with the equipment and supplies necessary to ensure that these patients, our fellow citizens, receive proper care if they need it. 12 shelters serving special needs and the general population are open in Broward, Collier, and Miami-Dade counties, and approximately 1,300 people have taken shelter from the storm. This is the 7th hurricane, believe it or not, in 13 months, and our 3rd one this season. And I'm proud of our team. They really have done an extraordinary job, and I'm very proud of the local emergency responders. These are dedicated professionals that do their jobs day in and day out in extraordinary fashion, but they particularly do it well as we prepare for storms. And we have a plan that we're trained to carry out. And the first priority after the storm is saving lives and restoring security for the safety of our citizens. 2,400 guardsmen are mobilized and an additional 2,000 are on alert. Our search and rescue and medical teams are ready to respond, and they're staging as we speak. Our second priority is meeting the immediate needs of all of the residents, and that means for many that don't have power, water, ice, and food should be made available. We have over 200 trucks that are in varying stages of being staged in different parts of our state. And as soon as it's safe, once requested by the local officials, we will make our way to the impacted region. As they have in all of the storms, the power companies will begin working to restore power to critical facilities, homes, and businesses. And I spoke to Senator Pruitt, who lives in St. Lucie County today. This afternoon he told me that he had already seen a long phalanx of Florida Power and Light utility trucks heading south to stage and prepare to provide relief for their customers in southern Florida. As of 3 p.m., about 24,000 customers in Monroe, Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade counties were without power. During the first 2 hurricanes of this season, Hurricanes Dennis and Katrina, many Floridians used their generators for the first time. I think we led the nation in the purchases of generators after last summer, and a lot of people were using them for the first time, and I imagine that many more will use their generator for the first time today and tomorrow. Please follow the generator instructions. Some may remember that during these 2 storms we've had loss of life for not following the instructions. Don't use the generators in your home. Don't set them up in your garages. This is really a matter of life or death. Our third priority is to help all Floridians resume their normal lives with normal activities as soon as possible. And as Rita moves into the Gulf of Mexico, we're looking to do just that, to make sure that people can get back into their homes as quickly as possible in the Keys, and that we continue to work with the energy companies to make sure that we have a stable fuel supply to our state. If you don't mind, I'd like to say a few words in Spanish as well. Buenas tardes. Según el Centro Nacional de Huracanes.
Governor Jeb Bush there saying, of course, the first priority is saving lives, saying South Florida residents should remain vigilant, that encouraging people not to get out and about with, of course, those tropical force winds still affecting the South Florida area. And right now, torrential rain and high winds are pounding the Florida Keys as it continues to quickly graze the island chain. For the very latest now from Key West, we're joined once again live by NBC's Bob Keeling. Good afternoon, Bob. And it looks like you're getting another band there of high winds and rain.
Yeah, without a doubt. Probably within the last 45 minutes, we've been getting some of the strongest bands yet. From times, it's just wind. At other times, like now, it's wind and stinging rain as Rita sort of strafes to the south of here. And as Governor Jeb Bush, the governor of Florida, just mentioned, we're feeling the effects of Rita, which is the 7th hurricane to affect this state of Florida in just the last 13 months.
Strong waves battered Florida's southernmost point. And high surf on the north side of Key West announced Rita's arrival to those who ignored mandatory evacuation orders. The hurricane's heavy rain and wind marched on the upper and middle Keys first. Rita's surge made impassable numerous stretches of US 1, the only road in or out of the island chain. Despite that, the mayor of Key West remained hopeful that the worst of Rita would skirt to the south of the island.
We expect to have a lot of water, plus 6 to 10 inches of rain as well that we will be having to deal with.
Residents still reeling from Katrina's devastation less than a month ago now have a new storm to worry about.
My family's in New Orleans right now, and I'm over here, and my wife's worried about us over here, and I'm worried about them over there.
Rita has already brought significant power outages to the Keys, wind damage, and uncertainty to thousands of residents who've had their lives disrupted yet again.
And as the wind and rain continues here in the heart of historic Key West, from here, Rita is expected to go out into the Gulf, become a major hurricane, and then perhaps make landfall in Louisiana or Texas, two places that certainly don't need it. And that's the latest from Key West. Reporting live, I'm Bob Keeling. We're back to you now.
All right, thanks so much, Bob Keeling.
Hurricane Rita, of course, changing by the minute, so we want to get another update on the storm's track. Let's check in with NBC Weather Plus meteorologist Bill Cairns. Hi, Bill. What's the latest?
Well, good afternoon. Anxiously awaiting the new update from the Hurricane Center to actually find out how strong the storm is currently and also where that new projected path is going to be. I'm going to have that for you in moments. What we're watching now, we can get some hints of what the thinking is because we get the same information here that the Hurricane Center gets from the Hurricane Hunter aircrafts. And this was at 4:07 East Coast time. They found a high wind gust of 102 miles per hour, and that was in that northwest quadrant. Pressure is still dropping, but the good news for areas like Key West is that the eye wall is still not closed on the north and northeast side of the storm. That's what's really saving Key West from getting a devastating blow from this storm. One thing I want to point out, and I think we're going to probably get proof of this tomorrow, this is Cuba down here to the south. This is the north coast of Cuba. The eye wall on the south side and the strongest winds have been on the southern portion of this storm. I think the damage and the wind problems and flooding problems are going to be much worse here in the north coast of Cuba than they are throughout the Keys. Right now, at least, the northern half of the storm is much weaker than the southern half. Let's take a look at the Key West radar. We saw Bob there blowing around in Key West. He's going through this band that's moving through right here. You can see there. We're going to continue watching these spiraling bands, but the center of the storm is now past due south, so it's pretty much southwest of Key West, moving away at 15 miles per hour. See all the bright red on the bottom here? That's the intensification there on the southern half of the storm. So the worst part of the storm did not go over any areas of land, and that's why we haven't seen that extreme damage through the Keys. We're still going to get minimal damage, but nothing like a major hurricane would do. So this is what we have to watch now, is the actual forecast track and where it's going to go. And we're not too concerned with the intensity. We think it's going to become a Category 3, and then it's going to probably fluctuate between a 3 and a 4, bouncing back and forth over the next 3 to 4 days. So what we're really waiting to see is what the Hurricane Center's new thinking is on the forecast path. The latest one that we had was right in the middle of about Corpus Christi and Houston. We'll have to see if they've shifted that in either direction. Some of the computer models have been hinting at a little further north this afternoon, possibly almost right towards Houston. So if there's any shift, I believe it'll be a little further north. As soon as I get that information, of course, I'll bring it to you. Now we want to go to Alexis with the latest on Rita.
Let's bring in the police chief of Key West, Florida, William Maldwin, right now to get a sense of how things are going. Good afternoon, William.
Hey, good afternoon.
So how are you guys doing? We continue to see the footage from here, but give us a sense of what it's like actually being there right now.
Well, quite honestly, I think we had some much larger trees down than what we currently have during Katrina and Dennis. The damage that we have here does not appear to be quite as bad as it was during those two storms. We do have the usual debris in the street. We have some power outages, and we also have traffic lights out, but, I think we've fared pretty well.
You know, one of the things that we look at after the aftermath of a place like Hurricane Katrina is the Red Cross and FEMA gives out things to be aware of in a hurricane. And one of the things they say is that the most deceptive part of the storm is the aftermath, when people come out of their homes because of those downed trees or power lines. You know, for the people who are at home right now, what should they be doing as the storm starts to pass?
Well, of course, the most important thing is if they see a power line down, stay away from it. Call the power company and let them know that the line is down. Also, if there's high water, stay away from it. Don't go through it. If they were to stall, right now it'd be difficult to get to them. So, those are the prudent things that they need to be doing at this point in time.
Well, William Maldwin, police chief in Key West, we wish you the very best of luck in the cleanup and the aftermath of this storm.
Okay, thank you.
And I want to to let you know, of course, it's been a busy day for President Bush. He was making his fifth visit to the region affected by Hurricane Katrina along the Gulf Coast. First, he spoke with some local business leaders in Gulfport, Mississippi, and then he went to New Orleans, where he spoke a short while ago at a Folgers coffee plant. This is where they, in the port of New Orleans, where they received their first shipment of coffee earlier today. Let's listen.
Is because I want the people to know that there's progress being made in this part of the world. We got some people working here because of the ingenuity of the plant managers. But behind me you see temporary housing where this company has provided housing for the folks who work here. FEMA help with that. And FEMA help with that. And what you're beginning to see is a revitalized economy. Progress is being made toward meeting the mayor's vision of a vibrant, and my vision, and everybody's vision involved with this, of a vibrant New Orleans and surrounding parishes. The other thing, I just came from a briefing about Hurricane Rita, or Storm Rita, now a Category 2 hurricane. And we were watching very closely, of course, its track. All up and down this coastline, people are now preparing for what is anticipated to be yet another significant storm. Admiral Allen's going to stay in charge of the Louisiana and Mississippi area. We've got another admiral who is now being stationed in Texas to coordinate the relief response. We got military assets that are being taken out of the New Orleans area, out of harm's way, and they'll come back in behind the storm to follow up where it's needed. I've been in touch with the governor of Texas. I've been briefed on the planning for what we pray is not a devastating storm. But there's one coming, and I appreciate the mayor recognizing that, and he made a wise decision to say to people, be cautious about returning here because a rain of any amount could cause these levees to break again. But progress is being made. As I said in Mississippi, I was pleased to see the progress being made on the ground. There's still a lot of work, but they're making progress, and they're making progress here in New Orleans too. And again, we got a lot of work to do, but people are determined to get the job done. Anyway, I want to thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me back. Thank you all. Get ready.
The president there talking about the recovery efforts in New Orleans, as he also talked about the threat that they're now once again facing yet another hurricane, Hurricane Rita. And you saw the president there speaking along with New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin, as well as Vice Admiral Thad Allen, who is now heading up the recovery efforts in that city. Well, we are expecting a briefing very shortly from the two gentlemen, and we'll bring that to you live right here after a short break. Do stay with us.
As Rita takes aim at the Gulf Coast, how the government will use lessons from Katrina to prevent this kind of devastation again. Scarborough Country, MSNBC Tonight at 10.
BC Tonight, the show that's got everyone all worked up.
That's your ex-wife?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't going to miss her.
Critics are calling My Name is Earl the best new comedy of the year.
Thank you.
See what all the buzz is about. My Name is Earl premieres tonight, 9/8 Central on NBC.
Looking for a mortgage lender who can put you on the fast track? Check out ditech.com's flat fee purchase home loan. The total lender fee is just $395. Log on to ditech.com or call 1-800-DITECH-1.
Ditech.com. Speed guaranteed.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
Love your everyday purchases. With Love the Double from Chase. Love them because now they give you double. Double rewards. Double cash back. Double travel points. Double the stuff you love. Love the Double. Only from Chase.
Calling the Mach 5. Come in, Speed. Trixie, calling the Mach 5.
I'm in the middle of a race, Trixie. Don't talk to me now.
Speed, listen to me. The bridge is out ahead. You're in extreme danger.
The bridge is out?
Don't worry, Speed. I have good news.
Tell me, Trixie.
I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
You're a home
homeowner and you need cash, call or log on to ditech.com and take the Ditech Challenge. We'll guarantee you the lowest rate and fee and help you to consolidate debts and lower your payments, even if your credit is less than perfect. Call 1-800-80-DITECH.
Let's go do this thing.
It happens in 1 week. We got work to do. We'll turn your drab ride into the cool custom dream you've always wanted.
And get this, we'll do it all without you having a clue. It's overhauling.
The owner gets tricked and the car gets tricked out. We hope you're happy.
Let's go find another victim.
Overhauling, Tuesdays at 9, only on TLC.
Help change the lives of your neighbors in need by donating your car, truck, boat, or RV to Father Joe's Villages.
If you're an employer dealing with a high cost of employee turnover and want to cut associated costs, I recommend that you look at the root causes of turnover. Many employees leave jobs they're good at because they feel their efforts aren't recognized. They lack support and direction, or their input isn't appreciated. Satisfying these needs requires no capital investment. Replacing a fully trained and productive employee does. I'm David Batstone.
Welcome back to MSNBC. We want to give you an update on the closing bell today and how the markets performed. The Dow was down 76 points, the S&P down 9.5 points, and NASDAQ down 14 points. Once again, though, the story continues to be crude oil prices up just about $4 yesterday. It came in today down $1.16, closing at 66.23. And once again, the Federal Reserve Bank, as highly anticipated, did raise rates again a quarter of a point. The Fed funds rate now at 3.75. That is the 11th straight hike. We'll be back with more on MSNBC.
Closing Bell Report is brought to you by Sprint Business. Sprint Business, yes you can.
Sprint Business is reinventing the yes man, turning the yes man into someone who can work from almost anywhere. And now that Sprint and Nextel have come together, you can work in and out of the office more efficiently, the way 96% of the Fortune 1000 already do. So if saying yes from just about anywhere with speed and confidence makes me a yes man, I'm a yes man.
With Sprint Business, you can make just about any place a workplace. Yes, you can.
Imagine you had a great idea and shared it with the world. To make it a better place. To make it cleaner and quieter. To make people more comfortable. Businesses more successful. The world more connected. Would an idea that great ever fly? It will. And like nothing else. Boeing, forever new frontiers.
We want to go live right now to New Orleans, where Mayor Ray Nagin and Vice Admiral Thad Allen now are briefing you. Let's listen.
As far as Rita is concerned, the hurricane is currently a Category 2, but conditions are favorable for it to strengthen. Right now, the forecasts are showing it to still be headed just west of us, maybe to the Texas coast, but there's still a possibility that it could turn north, and we're going to continue to monitor it over the next day or two to decide exactly what we need to do as far as adjustments. Federal officials are repositioning themselves to not become victims of the storm. They will either be fighting Katrina or following Rita. So that's basically what's happening. We have had an influx of evacuees that have made their way to the convention center. We've already evacuated 2 busloads of individuals that have been evacuated from the city, from the East Bank. The state is managing where they go inside the state, and FEMA is managing where they go outside of the state. As far as the city status is concerned, we continue to make progress on a daily basis. We're opening a support hospital. General Honore has taken us on in the convention center. By tomorrow, a support hospital will be up and running, and they already have a disaster recovery center at Landry High School, and it seems as though Turo Hospital and its emergency capabilities is right on track to be open sometime tomorrow or the next day at the latest. The pumping capacity continues to improve. We're still not at full capacity, but the number of pumps continue to go up every day. Let me talk to the residents of New Orleans for a minute. I know it's been 3 weeks plus that you haven't been able to come back into your city. And I know there are lots of people who are very anxious about coming home. And I know some of you were prepared to come back to New Orleans. You know, just hold on for a little longer. As soon as we get comfortable that Rita is clear of landfall in Louisiana, where we won't have any major impact, we will get back to our reentry program as outlined. It may be a little more spaced, but we fully intend to follow through on some of the things that we talked about. Once you get here, let me just give everyone a word of caution, because I've been getting reports of individuals that have been coming back to the city, and it's very shocking what they're finding, most of them. I just want you to know that be prepared. You may not recognize some things. Your home may be in disarray. Your neighborhood may be in disarray. We want you to come prepared with your eyes wide open as it relates to what you might see. We also want to make sure that you're aware. We are not encouraging you to bring back any pets, any children, or any senior citizens. We have minimum hospital facilities, and we're still working to improve water quality, and the schools, for the most part, are not open in the city. So I want to make sure that everyone understands that. And as business people come to the city, you do not have the full services that you have enjoyed in the past. The purpose of this reentry program is to allow people to come in, to reassess exactly what they have lost, and start to make plans for the future. If you're near an area that was wet, that had some flooding, we encourage you to wear protective gear. Be careful with chainsaws and generators, because that is where most of the accidents tend to happen. And go slowly. When you open up your home, make sure that you ventilate and open up as many windows as possible before you enter. You may also find mold in your homes, so we want you to be aware of that, and that's why ventilation is very important. And we have a wonderful group behind me and besides me, and we want to emphasize that this is one leadership team. We may not always agree, but we have one mission, and that is to bring New Orleans back. And I have a little gift from my good friend Admiral Allen. I have a wonderful t-shirt for him. It's called I Love New Orleans, and I want to give him that as my gift.
Thank you.
Very good pride. The governor of the great state of Louisiana, Kathleen Babineau Blanco.
I want to echo what the mayor just said. We all want this city to come back, and come back as quickly as it possibly can, and that is what we're working on. That is our effort. Today, however, we are watching Hurricane Rita very, very closely. If you've had a chance to see what has happened, last night it was aiming at Galveston, Texas, or so the projections told us. This morning it's a little more westerly. If it can happen, it can move in any direction based on the winds, and so that concerns us. So I have put the state on alert. We've already declared another emergency particularly at this moment for southwest Louisiana. If it indeed ends up closer to the Galveston, Houston, Beaumont area, we could be on the east side of this storm, much as Mississippi was. So we are completely aware of the potential dangers that we would face if the storm ventures toward the eastern side of Texas. Right now, it's between Galveston and Brownsville, which is a little bit further west from Louisiana. We are still concerned, though, about the possibility of rising waters, tides that may be higher than normal. They could be 2 to 3 feet higher than normal, which could impact our low-lying areas in this region of the state, in the southeast region. But I have asked all people in coastal parishes and the affected area to pay very close attention to weather reports and to make preparations. Know where you will go. Our shelters are filled. We are making preparations to move people from shelters below I-10 if the storm does approach Louisiana and if it becomes a serious problem. We will move them into shelters north of I-10. We have to free up some shelter places because we know that people will have learned the lessons of Katrina. And besides that, some years ago, a hurricane named Audrey demolished Cameron Parish, which would be the parish right next to Texas that would be the most high-impact parish. We lost a lot of lives in that hurricane. So we are very concerned. I am always concerned about hurricanes anytime they threaten my state. And we will take extraordinary precautions. We have a coordinated federal, state, and local effort moving in place as we speak.
Good evening, I'm Chris Matthews. We begin hardball today with Louisiana Governor Kathleen Blanca, who along with Mayor Ray Nagin is holding a news conference right now. Let's continue to listen.
Our mission is to save lives, to save as many lives as possible, and we would urge people to evacuate, take precautions. Much easier to take a car ride, even though it might get a little frustrating in some traffic, than to risk losing a life. And that will be our mission from here on out. We are praying that the hurricane dissipates, that it weakens, that it becomes simply a tropical storm of sorts. Even though tropical storms can injure us to some extent, a devastation of a hurricane category 3, which is what it is projected to possibly increase to, could hurt us once again. This state can barely stand what's happened to it. We could hardly stand to think of what we'd have to deal with if southwest Louisiana were also impacted. But we are working on it. We will deal with it. We want to protect lives again. Thank you.
The governor and the mayor and I just came from a very extensive brief with the president. The brief was divided into 2 parts. One was a forecast on where Rita may go and the implications associated with that. It's already been referred to by the mayor and the governor. The second brief was the status of current conditions in Louisiana as it relates to our response to Hurricane Katrina. He is fully briefed and understands that we are adequately addressing both threats. We are redeploying military forces where they are needed in case Rita comes ashore and we need those forces there. We are repositioning forces in and around New Orleans. I have General Honore and his staff behind me here. They can answer specific questions about the military force adjustment if you'd have any questions regarding that. One of the major moves was a field military hospital into the convention center that can support medical emergencies as we pass through this time of threat here. We are also providing extra medical assistance teams and trauma units to the extent that they are needed inside the city of New Orleans. We have been working throughout the day with the state and parish and city planners to pre-position equipment should we need it. We have nearly 500 buses that are staged and ready to be used in an evacuation if that is necessary. We have water and MREs ready to support a population of about 500,000 should that be necessary. We are in continual consultations with the state, and around the clock we will do reassessments, and if there is an evacuation ordered sometime in the future or a higher alert status is obtained, we will be ready to act. As the governor said, this is a combined federal, state, and local planning effort. We are ready to execute. We will keep our people out there who are providing services on scene, and if and when a decision made is to move people out of parishes, that's when our people will leave. But until then, they will be there with the people providing those services. And are we taking questions, Mr. Mayor?
I think Chief Campos has a little update, and then we'll take questions.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. We've got our communication systems that are up. We have our police officers at the checkpoints. We have some vehicles that have come in, so we're on patrol. We're doing everything we can to disseminate our personnel into the areas as the city dries out. We've been working very closely with the federal agencies and with the military, and the city of New Orleans is very, very safe. I want to let you know that this police department is prepared to do whatever it takes to keep this city safe. Now, I'm going to have to put on another hat because Captain DeFillo's not here, so I'm going to be in charge of the questions. I saw him do it enough from the left to the right. So we're going to start with
I'm going to thank you, Chief. All right. The mayor was kind enough to give me a T-shirt. We were talking the other day in one of our meetings, and I told him it might be useful, especially for me, to understand where the evacuees had gone to, because we're trying to reconcile demand and supply for housing and transient housing. To know that, you kind of got to know where the people went, and it's been very difficult for us to reconcile to what part of the countries they went to, and the mayor was very interested in that. I told him I would put my people on it and see what we could come up with, and I promised them this chart that I'd like to show you all. And what it is, it's a density plot of where the people in the United States have evacuated to and then applied for assistance, so you can see the concentrations of where the people left and have gone to. Mr. Mayor, for our discussion.
Well, that's, of course, Admiral Thad Allen of FEMA, Ray Nagin, the mayor of New Orleans, and, of course, the other person joining them is the governor of Louisiana, Kathleen Blanco. Oh, that was a debate. Actually, it was a presentation by the leading officials of the state of New Orleans, the city of New Orleans and the state of Louisiana, as to preparations for Hurricane Rita, which is perhaps going to hit New Orleans. It's going to hit perhaps more likely a piece of Louisiana to the west. But of course, it's something they're getting ready for right now, in addition to trying to figure out how to bring people back into the city, on what basis. You heard Mayor Nagin there, the mayor of New Orleans, saying no pets, no children, and no senior citizens. That was an odd ordering, but that's the way he said it. No schools are open. So he's basically saying to people, come back and take a look at your property, make a very sad assessment of what you've lost and what you have to deal with in terms of perhaps your business books, and then get back out of town again. I thought it was very interesting that the governor was very passionate when she said, you may not like taking a long trip in a car with bad traffic going north, but it'll save your life perhaps. Very strong warning, I think, to the people that they may be in danger again. Let's go right now to NBC's Michelle Hoffland in New Orleans. Michelle, thanks for joining us again. What's the feeling there that we're about to get hit again?
That's what a lot of people here are very afraid of. You know, for decades they've been saying, okay, there's going to be a hurricane coming, but the people here said, you know what, we've never had a strong hurricane, we'll be all right. But now, after Hurricane Katrina, people here are very jittery. The restaurant that I'm standing in front of, the folks came back this weekend to start getting ready to reopen. Now they're back trying to empty the refrigerator and putting up the boards and getting ready, because they know after Hurricane Katrina, things can get very bad very fast. People I talk to are also very sad. They're overwhelmed. They've been here for 3 weeks now. All these volunteers, firefighters, police officers, they've all been here working around the clock, also trying to deal with their own devastated homes and devastated neighborhoods. And frankly, Chris, they're exhausted, they're overwhelmed, and this is the last thing they need. But even a little bit of rain is bad for the folks around here, because all these roofs are ripped off of homes throughout this area. So a little bit of rain will just drench the inside of these buildings that have been trying to dry out for 3 weeks. So they're waiting, they're watching, and just praying that they don't get much rain or winds in this area.
Michelle, maybe I'm looking for trouble, but I noticed a difference in point of view from the governor and the mayor, the governor of the state of Louisiana and the mayor of New Orleans. The governor was speaking in drastic terms of saying it's better to get out there and hit the highway and put up with some traffic than getting killed, getting drowned down here in the next couple of days or even hours. On the other hand, the mayor was distinguishing between the way you come back into town now to pick up your belongings, don't bring the whole family back. He seemed to be less distressed by the potential of this hurricane coming.
Well, you know, he is trying to be optimistic and has been trying to be optimistic now for weeks. From what I understand, he's very worried that the business people, big business people, are going to be leaving his town, so he's been trying to get people to come back here, like the owners of this restaurant, to start getting ready to reopen. And at the same time, we're hearing people like Vice Admiral Thad Allen saying, you know what, it's a little too early for the folks to get down here. So even though I saw at the press conference they were all together, and the mayor even gave Thad Allen a T-shirt, New Orleans, I Love New Orleans T-shirt, there's been a lot of dissension, there have been a lot of disagreements, and a lot lot of communication problems and trying to let these people know, okay, is it safe to come down here or not? You know, let me tell you, there's no drinking water, no fresh drinking water, no place to buy it around here. And you know, the temperatures have been, it feels like it's 115 inside the houses. It's much hotter, not to mention the chemicals and everything else and the weak levees. It's a very dangerous situation. We're getting a lot of different conflicting information from different people, and especially the officials around here.
Yeah, I thought I just heard a distinction there between the governor and the mayor. I'll say it again. The governor seems to be very much on the side of get out of town while you can, and the mayor's still in this sort of uncertain position of, well, come on back in and check out your goods and see how you stand here. Maybe he's still trying to encourage a repopulation of that city while people are still thinking about coming home. We'll see. Anyway, thank you very much, Michelle. Go ahead, Michelle. Anyway, thank you, Michelle.
Oh, no, that's what I said. That's what... Okay. Back to you, Chris.
Okay, thank you. We have a delay there. Thank you very much. Let's go right now to Donna Gregory, who's in Key West, Florida, much closer to the new action. Now, there she is. Donna Gregory, thank you for joining us. What is going on? Are we looking at something like a Category 3 or a Category 1 right now?
This right here where we are, Chris, may not even qualify as a Category 1. These are just tropical storm force winds that we are feeling sustained. Now, we are getting some gusts of hurricane force winds, but the last we heard gusting from the airport was somewhere around 61, 65 miles an hour. But we're keeping an eye behind us. Some of these awnings have been losing their bolts. They're bolted into this stucco against the walls, and we're a little concerned that some of these may fly off. We have seen it already across the street. One awning just simply ripped off by these heavy winds, and these are just minor winds. So imagine adding Category 3, Category 4 to that, as are some predictions as it's turning across the Gulf. Very minor damage here, if at all. Just as I mentioned, just a few awnings down. We have seen some low-level flooding in some of the streets, which of course was a concern. Still a concern as this storm slides to the west of us, about a southerly sweep and a storm surge of between 6 and 9 feet. But I just talked to a police officer who says there's about 4,000 people on this island without power. Power outages all through up the Keys, but he called this a piece of cake compared to some of the other storms that the people on this island have had to deal with. About half the people here, Chris, left. They heeded the mandatory evacuations, and now Governor Jeb Bush says it's too late to go. Do not leave now. The storm will be gone in just a few hours. In fact, the Hurricane Center says in about 2 more hours we can expect one more major squall, and then that should be it for Key West. We're keeping an eye on all of these awnings and things like that. We've seen some flashing across the street that's literally ripped off. So still a little scary here, but a lot of people maintaining a party atmosphere in Key West. Chris?
Okay, thank you very much, Donna Gregory. In Key West, when we return, Senator John McCain on whether we're ready for another major hurricane as Rita closes in, and how to pay for Katrina, about $200 billion. Where's it going to come from? This is Hardball, only on MSNBC.
Look at that left hand.
Thanks for the jest, Mom.
Simple, everyday moments can be the perfect time to talk to your kids about not smoking, so you don't have to plan a big discussion.
Look, there's a dragonfly on one of the roller coasters.
Is your leg?
A little moment will do just fine.
Looks really
Talk to your kids about not smoking.
Smoking cigarettes can hurt your game too.
They'll listen.
Don't worry, Dad. I won't.
For conversation starters, log on to philipmorrisusa.com.
There's an even better way to care for your nest egg. Objective financial advice. A.G. Edwards. For 118 years, fully invested in our clients.
Coming up, something's got to give if we're to pay for Hurricane Katrina. What's it going to be? More with Senator John McCain when Hardball returns.
All I want is a room somewhere, a business trip beyond compare. Hampton keeps me on my game. Folks who care and know my name. All I want is all the comforts that I need, helping me to succeed. Wouldn't it be lovely?
Sprint Business is reinventing the yes man, turning the yes man into someone who can work from almost anywhere. And now that Sprint and Nextel have come together, you can work in and out of the office more efficiently, the way 96% of the Fortune 1000 already do. So saying yes from just about anywhere with speed and confidence makes me a yes man. I'm a yes man.
With Sprint Business, you can make just about any place a workplace. Yes, you can.
Weekdays on CNBC, Ron Insana gets into the heart of the day's market action. Hardcore business from all the angles. What you could learn from how the pros make money. An insight that's uniquely Ron. Street Signs, weekdays on CNBC. Make it your business.
Street Signs, weekdays at 11 a.m. on CNBC, is brought to you locally by
Pacific Continental. The right back.
Hey, yo, Tim! Get on your job, kid! We got school, yo! You want me to do... I got the bus here, man. I got connections. We holding up traffic. Let's go. I'm not letting you waste your life like that, yeah?
Comcast, focused on community.
Our guest is Senator John McCain, Senator from Arizona. Senator McCain, we haven't had you on since Katrina hit. What have you learned that we've been doing wrong in getting ready for these major natural disasters?
Everything. We have made serious mistakes. I think it's clear that, to state the obvious, that we had probably placed too much emphasis on a terrorist attack versus a natural disaster, and there were many mistakes that were made, including lack of communications capability, lack of coordination between the different levels of government, all the things that I've been watching you talk about for the last couple of weeks, Chris. But primarily, I think the focus perhaps was misplaced to a degree over to countering a terrorist attack as opposed to handling a natural disaster.
If you were president, would you name somebody from the Arabian Horse Association to head FEMA?
Well, somebody said no. Well, at least no Arabian horses died. No, I wouldn't. But I also would seriously consider, if I were president, the appointment of now an overall administrator that everybody could look to. I'm told that there are still problems of coordination between state, local, federal officials, and I think you should have a go-to guy. I think Rudy Giuliani would be a great one for it. Colin Powell, General Tommy Franks, maybe Jack Welch or Lou Gerstner, one of those people who's used to administering bureaucracies. We probably need that now.
Why do you think the vice president opposes such an action?
I didn't know that he did.
Yeah, he does.
I'd heard that the administration was considering such a move, but I didn't know.
He doesn't want a name brand named a big fellow like you mentioned. You mentioned 4 or 5 people that could be president, and apparently the vice president's not interested in having somebody of that stature fill this position.
Well, I don't know anything about that, but I know that the vice president has the highest priority of getting this crisis handled, not only for the good of the nation, but for the good of this administration.
What about getting FEMA outside of Homeland Security? You mentioned we put too much emphasis on the Homeland Security part, the anti-terrorist function. Do we need to have 2 different departments, 2 different agencies handling the terrorist challenge and the natural disaster?
Probably you need to take it back out. But look, Chris, isn't the moral of the story here, you can shuffle boxes around in the organizational chart, but unless you really give enough priority assets and talents to the task, that's secondary. In other words, suppose that FEMA inside the Department of Homeland Security had focused enough attention on taking care of natural disasters, had the qualified kind of leadership that it needs, we might not be arguing about moving the boxes around. So it makes me a little bit uneasy by saying, okay, let's take it out of DHS and then everything's going to be okay. See my point?
Yeah. One of the things that's been reported on about Louisiana is it's guilty of the same kinds of things we're seeing at the federal level, cronyism, where somebody happens to be a friend of Joe Alba, who was head of FEMA at one point, and he's his roommate in college, and so he gets the job. Down here in Louisiana, you see all kinds of family relationships. You've got Mitch Landrieu as the lieutenant governor, the senator is Mary Landrieu, and everybody seems to be related, and they're all buddies with each other. And rampant corruption historically down in that part of the country. Is that going to be a challenge? I mean, are you happy sending a lot of money to Louisiana?
I'm happy sending a lot of money to Louisiana, but we really need, this is one of the arguments for the administrator, it's another argument for IGs of the most highly qualified type. Look, I don't think you can funnel all the money direct from the federal government to whoever the recipient is, but you also got to have accountability. There's not been one disaster that I can remember where there wasn't a lot of money wasted. Maybe we could do it a little better this time, and also there is Mississippi and Alabama as well that have to be handled. So am I uncomfortable when I read that there's a different governmental entity for every levy? Yes. Yeah. And some of the expenses like a fountain of lights instead of, but also, isn't it also true, Chris, that even though Louisiana got the largest amount of Corps of Engineers money, a whole lot of that went to pork barrel projects rather than what would have been judged by an objective observer as higher priorities?
Yeah, and the other question I raised with the local head of the Corps of Engineers was, do we know there wasn't graft in the building of those flood walls down there? Because they gave way right across the board, and nobody can figure out what happened to the materials, the construction. And he said it was an open question whether we were seeing some graft here, the old trick of 6 inches of concrete for 8 inches of pavement.
Well, also, isn't it true that some of these projects actually contributed dramatically to the erosion of the wetlands, which, as you know, requires certain conditions, as opposed to preserving them? Now we're looking at a $14 billion tab for the reconstruction of the wetlands, without which, in the view of many experts, you're never going to be able to protect New Orleans or provide it with increased protection. I've seen the pictures of the erosion of the wetlands over the last 10 years. It's dramatic.
We'll be back with Senator John McCain talking about how to pay for Hurricane Katrina and whether we're ready for Hurricane Rita. This is Hardball, only on MSNBC.
What's new about Ziploc? Is your idea of storage a bit too square? With Ziploc Big Bags, tight spaces are perfect places. For storage, don't box it. Ziploc Big Bag it. Ziploc, designed with you in mind. What's new about Ziploc? When it comes to storage, are you left holding the bag? Ziploc Big Bags with new reinforced handles really pull their weight. For bulky stuff, don't just bag it. Ziploc Big Bag it. Ziploc, designed with you in mind.
The artistry, the music, the experience. That is Genesis. The Genesis Platinum Collection, 3 CDs covering the entire Genesis library. Also available is Genesis, the video show, now for the first time on DVD, a complete collection of their groundbreaking videos. These are the most complete collections you can own. This is the only CD set that features both the Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel eras. Get the Genesis Platinum Collection. Also available is Genesis, the video show. Call or click now. The Genesis Platinum Collection CDs. Over 4 hours of music sounding like you never heard before. Oh, I need you. I'm not gonna make this. You know I want you, but I'm in too deep. We're gonna make it right tonight. Genesis, the video show. 32 of their most memorable videos in 5.1 surround sound. These collections are as unique and dynamic as the band itself. Get the Genesis Platinum Collection CDs. Call the number on your screen or go to onlyhitmusic.com. Also available is Genesis, the video show. A complete video history. Now for the first time on DVD. Rush delivery available.
Tonight, nearly 4,500 sex offenders unaccounted for after Katrina. From Louisiana to your town, how are they being hunted down? Countdown, MSNBC tonight at 8.
We hope you can join us tonight for NBC Nightly News. That's on your local NBC station. We'll take a look at Hurricane Rita, who got hit by it so far and where it might be heading next. And we'll look at one of the families, a special family, in fact, displaced by Hurricane Katrina. Those stories and more when we join you for Nightly News tonight on your local NBC station.
Welcome back to Hardball. We're talking with Senator John McCain. Senator, you mentioned a number of economy measures that might be well to think about right now to pay off the cost of Katrina, which could be $200 billion. Do you think we should reconsider the tax cuts of the president?
No, I don't. I don't think we have to do that at this time. Let's look at spending savings first and then get to that. But first, I'd like to see where we can, before we would have to do that, I'd like to look at the spending cuts that would be necessary and I think applicable.
Do you think that the cost of Katrina is going to put the squeeze on the war? And you're a military guy, of course, everybody knows that. Are you worried that some of the material, some of the support for our troops may be shortchanged because of the big pressure for Katrina?
I got to be straight again with you. I'm very worried about some of the polling numbers that I've seen concerning support for the war because it's been affected by Katrina. I hope that the president and some of us who believe we must win this conflict have got to speak up, remind people of the importance of this conflict and the consequences of failure and the benefits of success, and try to shore that back up. But a lot of it's understandable. Katrina has dominated what they've seen and heard for the last 3 weeks or so, and so that it's caused Iraq to recede somewhat in the background. But we got to speak up on this issue. We can't cut and run.
Do you think, and this is a real political question, I mean, I've gotten to know you pretty well over the years, and it's a real political question. A lot of people have been very skeptical about this war and why we're fighting it. And maybe that's most of the Democratic Party now. Would it be smart for the president to come out to the American people and say, this isn't an argument about whether we should have gone or not? You know, we can argue about that. Maybe you're right, maybe I'm right. We can argue about that in 20 years. But we got to get out of there the right way over the next couple of years. There's a right way to get out and a wrong way to get out. Do you think he would ever say it that way?
I hope so, because I have been. I've made the case that I think we did the right thing. But I've also said, almost in the words you just used, that whether we should have gone in or not is a bit of an academic argument, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of time for it. But we've got to stay the course. We've got to win. We cannot afford to fail, and if we do win, it'll have profound benefits for the region and for the world and America.
Do you ever worry that we bet on the wrong horse? We're betting on the Shia majority to have a Democratic government. Could it be that the Sunnis, the minority at 20% of the country, are the real fighters? They're the ferocious group, and they're going to be damn tough to keep down, even if we have a democratic system over there.
Well, first of all, the Shia were the underdogs and the oppressed, as you know, by the minority Sunnis for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's not that. It's whether the Sunnis will feel that they can legitimately participate in the government of their country. And that's the problem we're facing right now, is that many Sunnis feel that the Constitution did not contain sufficient provisions for them to feel that their rights are protected. We've got to continue to work on that. We've got to continue to try to convince the Sunnis and make changes, if necessary, in the Constitution to make them feel included.
It's a powerful statement. Thank you very much, Senator John McCain of Arizona. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll talk, coming up, we're going to talk to a lawmaker and a sheriff whose cities are in Hurricane Rita's path right now. Big question, are they ready? Do they have their drills ready? And how did Hurricane Katrina, how did it change their preparations? You're watching Hardball on MSNBC.
Would you like to turn your equity into cash you can use for any purpose? Just log on to ditech.com for your free online e-appraisal. Right now we're offering a low fixed-rate home equity loan with a flat fee of just $49. Call 1-800-DITECH1.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, State Farm understands the devastating toll of this catastrophe, and we're here to help. If you're a State Farm customer who needs to file a claim but have been displaced and can't reach your State Farm agent, contact any State Farm agent near your current location or call 1-800-SF-CLAIM. That's 1-800-732-5246 or visit statefarm.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Love the fun ways that Mom makes mealtime into something great. Campbell's tomato soup, possibilities. A grilled cheese just hits the spot. The great ideas never stop. Campbell's tomato soup, possibilities. Lots of goldfish, crackers swimming. Wholesome goodness you might be missing. Campbell's, good possibilities.
Have a good day. See you tonight.
Okay.
Introducing the all-new Suzuki Grand Vitara. You want more out of life? We're giving you the green light. Go.
Looking for a mortgage lender who can put you on the fast track? Check out ditech.com's flat fee purchase home loan. The total lender fee is just $395. Log on to ditech.com or call 1-800-DITECH-1.
Ditech.com. Speed guaranteed.
We have loads of puppies just looking for a home.
We've got a steak with your name on it.
Come on down to Bill's Kayak Shop for the adventure.
If you can afford radio advertising, you can afford cable TV. Comcast Spotlight can make it happen. And with Comcast Spotlight, you can target the customers you want to reach. So why settle for
Manja
when you can have?
Put your business on the fast track. Call Comcast Spotlight to find out more about advertising on cable.
React, respond, create and then move on.
Stop viruses. Stop spyware. Stop paying extra. Because Comcast high-speed internet service includes McAfee pop-up blocker, antivirus, and parental controls free. Comcast and McAfee. All you need to protect your privacy and your family. Call 1-888-COMCAST today.
Rita finds out how Michael Jackson wants to help victims of Katrina, direct from the King of Pop's dad, Joe Jackson. Live and direct, MSNBC tonight at 9.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Colette Cassidy. Here's some other news we're following for you tonight. 9 more Americans have been killed in Iraq. They include a diplomatic security agent and 3 private security guards killed by a suicide car bomber in Mosul. 4 U.S. soldiers died in roadside bombings near Ramadi, and a 5th soldier died in a blast north of Baghdad. Renowned Holocaust survivor and Nazi hunter Simon Wiesenthal has died at the age of 96. He helped bring more than 1,000 Nazi war criminals to justice, including former SS leader Adolf Eichmann. Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid announced he will vote against Chief Justice nominee John Roberts. However, Roberts is expected to easily win approval by the Senate Judiciary Committee on Thursday and the entire Senate next week. The Federal Reserve raised a key interest rate another 0.25%. It's the 11th straight increase, and the Fed signaled more hikes are likely. And the New York Times announced it will cut another 500 jobs, about 4% of its workforce. 200 jobs were already cut earlier this year. Those are your headlines. I'm Colette Cassidy. Now back to Hardball.
Welcome back to Hardball. Hurricane Rita is gaining strength and is expected to become a Category 4 storm by tomorrow. Craig Island is the state representative from Galveston, Texas, and Rick Roth is the sheriff of Monroe County, Florida, which is being hit by Hurricane Rita. He joins us by phone. Let me go right now to Sheriff Roth. What is the situation right there in Florida now?
To the south of Key West and has already passed the upper and middle Keys, so it's now impacting Key West, but it's far enough south so we're just getting the northeast quadrant, and it's not as bad as it could have been.
Has the experience that the country is going through visually in the south of this country particularly helped you prepare for this kind of event, for Rita?
Well, we have, this is our 3rd evacuation for this year, so we kind of have this figured out. We do it on a regular basis here in the Keys. Thank goodness we didn't have a storm as serious as hit New Orleans, but Katrina did hit us first, and we evacuated for that also.
What's the trick to a successful evacuation, Sheriff?
Well, actually, in our case, because our county is so long and narrow, that the best information we can get is early information. For Hurricane Rita, we got late information, and we had to do the entire evacuation. We already have it planned, of course. We have it planned in our plans have had for years, but we only had 1 day to evacuate. But we were able to do that, and all the people that wanted to leave were able to leave in that 24-hour period.
Let me go right now to State Representative Craig Island, who's in Galveston. Sir, what are you facing right down here by the end of the week?
Well, hopefully we'll all be gone by the end of the week. There's been a mandatory evacuation that will be called tomorrow, but there's already evacuations beginning today on a voluntary basis. And in the morning they'll begin a mandatory evacuation of special needs, nursing homes, and those type of populations.
How far back from the shore do the people get to go, or encouraged to go?
The whole county is going to be under a mandatory evacuation for the unincorporated areas, but all the way up almost to the city of Houston, probably about 30 miles.
Let me ask you, sir, how do you make people leave? We saw this in New Orleans. They didn't want to leave. They were told to leave. They didn't. How do you get your folks to leave facing this Hurricane Rita?
I think by having them watch the situation in New Orleans over the last 2 weeks has done more for mandatory evacuation responsiveness than anything else.
What is it that the people there are facing if they stay behind? Will they actually be drowned?
Well, I don't know that they'll be drowned, but they certainly could be facing things similar to New Orleans. I mean, we are a barrier island with 60,000 people. We do have a seawall after the devastating 1900 storm killed some 6,000 to 7,000 people. However, we could be cut off from the mainland. We have a causeway that connects us, so there could be serious situation for anybody that stays behind. And that's what we don't want, which is why the evacuations are starting to occur now. My family's gone. My law office is boarded up, and that's what's happening here on Galveston Island, even though it's a beautiful, calm, sunny, hot day.
How far above sea level does your area get?
Well, they raised the Galveston Island. There's portions of it that are 9 feet above sea level, but there are also areas out in the west end with the multi-million-dollar homes right on the beach and right on the bay that are just, feet above, 2 to 3 feet above.
Is that smart to build 2 or 3 feet above sea level in an island that gets hit by hurricanes?
No, but they're all built on stilts, so they're about 15 feet above, but still a big wind could blow some of those houses down.
Do you think you'll get 100% evacuation, sir?
No. There's going to be people that refuse to evacuate for whatever reason, and the city manager and the mayor have said that they're not going to arrest people and drag them out of the house. I would tell you that this is the first time that we've had in the state of Texas the authority to order a mandatory evacuation. After what happened to Florida last year, the legislature did pass a law giving cities, mayors, and county judges the authority to order a mandatory evacuation.
Do you have a looting problem down there? I mean, a lot of people in New Orleans, as crazy as it sounds, were afraid to leave their properties behind because it turns out there were looters ready to grab anything they had.
We sure we're going to have looters, but we're also going to have, I know the governor is just amassing 5,000 National Guard troops that he's going to be ready to send in immediately wherever the affected area is. Our sheriff and police forces will stay behind for sure. So we're trying to address that ahead of time and get people here ready to go as soon as it's available.
Well, just to finish up, sir, the next several days, when do you expect to have a complete evacuation of Galveston?
Galveston Island is supposed to evacuate tomorrow beginning at 6 p.m. and continuing through the Thursday morning. And there's staged areas throughout the county that Galveston is first because it's the southernmost, and then just areas off the bay will evacuate next. So there's a controlled plan that has been in place and is being implemented, and it's being announced tonight. But hopefully by Thursday afternoon, everybody that's going to leave Galveston Island will be gone.
Okay, Representative, stay with us for a second. We're going to be talking to our weather person. I also want to have Sheriff Roth stick with us. Now for the latest on Rita, we go to NBC Weather plus meteorologist Bill Cairns. Bill, what does it look like? Give us a layout of the next 3 or 4 days.
Well, first off, we have to get done with Key West. We just got a little more serious information out of Key West. We just heard of an official wind gust of 102 miles per hour. That's by far the highest wind gust that we've seen out of the Key West area. Wind gusts like that, you're going to get some significant damage. After we're done with this storm, as it pulls away from Key West, then of course we have to deal with it as it heads out into the Gulf. And the Keys were pretty lucky. They didn't go through the eye wall of this system. Unfortunately, somewhere along the Texas or Louisiana coastline, it should. The thing that has changed with the new update, not so much the path, but with the intensity, we now expect it to be a Category 4 hurricane as early as tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening, then staying a Category 4 hurricane, maybe bouncing back and forth a little bit before maybe a strong 4, then a weaker 4, then a strong 4. They tend to fluctuate when they get to this intensity, then taking that turn as we head towards Friday. If anyone's going to get preparations done and prepare, Friday is going to be too late. The storm will be bearing down on you. So you have up until about Thursday to get things done. And right now the target zone continues to be between Houston and Corpus Christi. And you're just talking there, Chris, to the people in Galveston about how high that would be, their elevation there. A storm surge with a Category 4 is going to be somewhere probably between about 10, maybe even as high as 20 feet to the right of wherever that center goes. And you can imagine that devastation, what it would do to elevations 10 feet or less there, right along the Texas coastline. That looks like we're going to be dealing with something like that as we head through Friday night, early Saturday morning.
Well, we just heard that Galveston Island, the highest real estate there is about 7 or 8 feet. So it sounds like that storm surge would take that away in a minute, especially the low-lying homes where the wealthier homes are. What about that western portion of Louisiana? One thing I learned from seeing last week was the right-hand punch is the hard part.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's anywhere to the right of the center we'll see the storm surge. Anywhere to the left of the center won't get the storm surge. So let's say the center line switches a little bit, heads all the way back up towards Houston. Well, that would actually mean that the worst storm surge would be around the right portion of the storm, Texas-Louisiana border, all the way over towards about Baton Rouge. Not Baton Rouge isn't on the ocean, of course, but down along the coastline there. Anywhere to the left side will not. So as far as
you mean we might be hitting Baton Rouge?
There's anywhere in this yellow cone still, Chris.
God, that's where all the where all the evacuees are. We were just there the other day. They're all that town's filled up with people. You mean they may have to evacuate?
If this takes a little more of a northern jog, the storm, if it was a Category 4 at landfall, would probably only weaken maybe to a Category 3 or 2 if it made a direct beeline for Baton Rouge. On a path like this, no, they probably wouldn't evacuate, but if it does track a little further to the north, yeah, that's not an unlikely scenario.
Okay, that's the way it happened 2 weeks ago. It kept moving to the right anyway, moving to the east. Thank you very much, Bill Cairns. When we come back, we'll be back with State Representative Craig Island from Galveston and Sheriff Rick Roth of Monroe County, Florida. Just a moment, by the way, both of which are bracing for Hurricane Rita. We're going to get back and talk to two people who have to deal with this weather reality right now. And later, how one of New Orleans' famous chefs is feeding those who are working to save the city. That's Paul Prudhomme, of course, here on Hardball.
Here I was, just 58, and I could barely walk. The pain in my hip kept me up all night.
I knew this arthritis pain was not going to beat you. I just knew it.
Not without a fight.
Hip replacement surgery is not for everyone, and recovery takes time. But Marcy was ready, so her surgeon told her about the range of new techniques and advanced technology.
To receive more information about hip replacement, call 1-877-4MY-HIP-1.
Marcy didn't have any conditions to keep her from having surgery, and she was willing to work hard at rehabilitation. Success also depends on age, weight, and activity level.
There came a point when I realized my arthritis pain was gone. What a glorious feeling that was.
Ask your orthopedic surgeon whether hip replacement is right for you, or call 1-877-4MY-HIP-1.
It really wasn't easy, but I'm so glad I didn't wait.
A message from DePuy Orthopedics Incorporated, a Johnson & Johnson company.
Have you got a strategy in place to take your company to the top and stay there? Winning businesses have smart strategies. That's why I recommend AdministAff. They provide administrative relief, big company benefits, reduced liabilities, and a systematic way to improve productivity, enabling business owners to get back to doing what they do best. Small business is good for America. AdministAff is good for small business.
Still ahead, what can be done to improve emergency communications before the next natural disaster? Hardball returns after this.
Nissan Altima.
Love the fun ways that Mom makes mealtime into something great. Campbell's tomato soup, possibilities. A grilled cheese dunk just hits the spot. The great ideas never stop. Campbell's tomato soup, possibilities. Lots of goldfish, crackers swimming, wholesome goodness you might be missing. Campbell's, good possibilities.
You buy ginger ale at Walmart's everyday low prices. It arrived on a Walmart truck and traveled over 140 miles from a Walmart distribution center, where it was processed by over 1,000 Walmart associates and moved over 10 miles of conveyor, with over 230,000 cases that same day. Why send ginger ale through one of the most efficient distribution systems ever conceived? To keep prices low for you, and we're all proud to be a part of it.
It's time people who get loans are treated fairly. That's why eLoan has no lender fees and you get the money you need fast. Check out our current monthly refinancing options. Those are just some of the revolutionary ways we're changing the lending industry. eLoan. Radically simple.
Hurricane Rita. For live reports and up-to-the-minute tracking, turn to MSNBC's meteorologist Sean McLaughlin and the NBC Weather Plus team.
Starting Monday on Today, live on the Plaza, we're going to build new homes to replace those destroyed by Katrina. Join us and make a difference today.
Welcome back to Hardball. In the first few hours or days after a catastrophe like Katrina, the rescue burden is almost always on first responders, including firefighters and police. But before they can respond, they have to be able to hear, receive, or transmit information, obviously. But that was a problem in New Orleans, and government officials fear it may be a problem in cities across the country. Simply talking to each other. Hardball correspondent David Schuster explains.
Firefighters and police say there is nothing more important than communications. But when Hurricane Katrina swept through New Orleans, the result, according to a fire chief, was a communications nightmare.
The radios were down shortly after the storm. We tried individual cell phones, and sporadically we could get through on the radios, but it was maybe 2 or 3 times a day that you had some type of communication with, other than the group that we were operating.
2 or 3 times a day at a time when firefighters were trying to communicate with each other and helicopter crews to rescue thousands of people. It got so bad that a fire department battalion chief, fed up with the problems, said he broke into a sporting goods store and took hold of maritime walkie-talkies. Some New Orleans police officers resorted to personal ham radios. The mayor's office, without telecom lines or cell service, cobbled together an internet phone link, and the National Guard relayed messages through the use of runners, a throwback to efforts during the Civil War. The jerry-rigged communication systems come 4 years after 9/11, when emergency radio systems in New York failed, and many firefighters who rushed inside the Twin Towers never heard the order to evacuate.
So after spending millions of dollars in funding and additional spectrum for our nation's first responders, why aren't we better off than we were on 9/11 when it comes to interoperable communications?
The answer, according to experts, is complex. The Department of Homeland Security, which last year gave the states nearly $1 billion for communication equipment upgrades, does not tell the states what to buy. And within each state, sometimes the police, fire, and rescue personnel all use different systems. There are also turf wars among the agencies, and some agencies have reported that their specific radio frequencies have interference problems related to cell phones. Then there is Congress.
Senator Lieberman and I reintroduced our legislation to provide spectrum to first responders, yet Congress has yet to act this year.
That legislation would create a dedicated national wireless network. But broadcast companies now control the spectrum and have lobbied hard not to give it back. In the meantime, hurricane season continues, and with another hurricane now headed across the Gulf, first responders in the region can only hope that this storm doesn't hit them the way Katrina hit New Orleans and make an already jumbled emergency communication system practically useless. I'm David Schuster for Hardball in Washington.
Thanks, David. We're back right now with State Representative Craig Island from Galveston, Texas, and Sheriff Rick Roth, who's on the phone from Monroe County in Florida. Sheriff, you know, that point was brought out by Senator McCain, but he also brought out the fact that in New Orleans, the city of New Orleans police were on a totally different frequency and a different system than the 3 surrounding parishes. Is that a problem you face as well?
Well, it shouldn't be. We have a system called Moto Bridge, and that system is supposed to bridge the frequencies that we use with any agency that comes in to visit for assisting us in law enforcement. The system is brand new. We're going to find out if it works or not. The tests have been very good, and we expect it to work in this case.
Well, let me ask you a question. Compare yourselves to New York during 9/11. I remember hearing that the fire department in New York couldn't talk to the police department. Is that a problem that happens in municipalities?
It could happen. It has happened to us in the past, but hopefully we have bypassed that problem. We're now able to communicate with all other law enforcement agencies through this patching network.
Let me go right now to State Senator Craig Island, who's in Galveston Island right now. Representative, is this a problem that you've been able to figure out there?
Well, it's one that the county addressed several years ago. If this would have been 5-6 years ago, it would have been a big problem. Different agencies in the county couldn't talk to each other, but now they have a unified system where everybody does have the ability to communicate. So hopefully it won't be a problem for us down here this time.
Do you think, Representative, that we need a job boss in situations like this? It's the old problem of American government. If the Democrats find a problem, they'll blame it on the Republicans on the Democrats. The state blames it on the federals. The feds blame it on the locals. The president's people dump on the mayor. The mayor's people dump on the governor. Is there any way to get accountability when you got so many levels and so many political levels going on?
Unless there is some type of definite hierarchy pre-storm, I don't think there is any way that you're ever going to avoid that type of finger pointing or blame shifting. Hopefully people will be better prepared now that they've seen the devastation that can occur if you're not prepared and you're not coordinated and organized. And one of the things we have is we do have a little lead time on this storm that we're trying to get prepared for.
What do you think of FEMA, Representative?
Boy, they sure didn't respond very good or very quick from what I know, and so they do have a long way to go, I think.
Should we carve it out from Homeland Security and separate natural disaster relief from and preparation from terrorism?
I think we should have whether you carve it out or not, there's got to be a heightened responsibility and emphasis on natural disasters. And it doesn't matter which way it comes from, whether it's an earthquake in Florida, floods along the Mississippi, or hurricanes on the Gulf Coast. It's just a different type of response than a terrorism.
Well, we're learning that all together. Thank you very much, State Representative Craig Island of Galveston, Texas, and Sheriff Rick Roth of Monroe County, Florida. When we return on Hardball, New Orleans is famous for its great restaurants, and even though Paul Prudhomme is closed for business, Chef Paul is still cooking for relief workers and soldiers in New Orleans. Let's talk to this guy. What a great guy. He'll join us when Hardball returns.
The drawing rooms of London had not prepared us for this new world. We were overcome by the very fruits and birds and trees.
Introduce yourself to the new classics from today's Ethan Allen.
The air was thick with perfume.
An unexpected marriage of simple elegance and timeless soul.
The seduction was complete.
Discover a modern take on classics. It's Ethan Allen, redefined. In stores now.
I'd like to redeem my credit card miles. No.
Okay.
Oh, Chubsy, come on. The answer's always... No! That's right. Oh. No! I'm not hearing it.
No! No! No!
Go from no to no hassle with Capital One No Hassle Rewards. There are no blackout dates on any airline, anytime.
I should have worked at Capital One!
What's in your wallet?
No!
These are my closest friends. We laugh together, cry together, play together. Even our kids play together. But when it comes to our nutritional needs, we couldn't be farther apart.
That's why we've made Centrum so complete. With such a full range of nutrients, each of their bodies can put Centrum to work in the way that's best to help them stay as healthy as the day they met.
We've always been there for each other, and we're going to do everything we can to keep it that way.
With Centrum, you're more complete from A to Zinc.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, State Farm understands the devastating toll of this catastrophe, and we're here to help. If you're a State Farm customer who needs to file a claim but have been displaced and can't reach your State Farm agent, contact any State Farm agent near your current location or call 1-800-SF-CLAIM. That's 1-800-732-5246 or visit statefarm.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
All I want is a room somewhere, a business trip beyond compare. Hampton keeps me on my game, folks who care and know my name. All I want is all the comforts that I need, helping me to succeed. Wouldn't it be lovely?
We have loads of puppies just looking for a home.
We've got a steak with your name on it.
Come on down to Bill's Kayak Shop for the adventure.
If you can afford radio advertising, you can afford cable TV. Comcast Spotlight can make it happen. And with Comcast Spotlight, you can target the customers you want to reach. So why settle for
Manja
when you can have?
Put your business on the fast track. Call Comcast Spotlight to find out more about advertising on cable.
What you wish you could do in real life, now you can do at VX.com. Roadmap to the automotive world.
Since 1979, K. Paul's Louisiana Kitchen has been a smash hit in New Orleans' French Quarter. The man behind the success is the world-famous chef, Paul Prudhomme. While he's planning on reopening his restaurant soon, most of his time these days is cooking for free for those who are working to save the city he loves. So far, that's 6,000 meals in the last 10 days. Chef Paul joins us this evening from New Orleans. Chef Paul, thank you for joining us from the Quarter. You're right across from the Cafe du Monde. I love that place where all they have the beignets for people 24 hours a day practically. What are you doing down there right now?
Well, we're talking to you, but besides that, we're cooking for anybody and we're feeding anybody in sight, you know. I mean, if you're hungry, we want to feed you.
What is
if you're in the military, we especially want to feed you.
What is the menu du jour?
Well, you know, one of the best things about doing good cooking is rotation of the menu. You know, and we're constantly rotating the menu. And matter of fact, yesterday, or Sunday rather, when we did the big military event, I think it ended up with about 5 or 6 different dishes. So we just, you know, the most important thing about food, Chris, is that if it's emotional, if it gives you an uplift. And I'll tell you, that's my job, to lift people up with great food.
Why do I love jambalaya, Chef Paul?
You love jambalaya because of the taste and the emotion of it. You know, good food has an emotion to it. It makes you feel different inside. It gives you a joy. It makes you want to, you know, hug somebody. It makes you want to smile. It makes you want to feel good about things. And that's the kind of food that Louisiana does. And I'm so proud to be a part of it. I'm so proud to be a Cajun and from Louisiana, and that I just can't stop feeding people, and I never will.
What is it about the Quarter? You know, I've been down there a lot in my life, and I love it. I told you that before we got on. But it's an amazing gumbo of good food, good music, girly shows, and a few seedy places. How do they all fit together?
Well, it fits together as a human switch. When you hit the French Quarter, your human switch is changed, and most people love the change. When you hit that French Quarter line and all of a sudden almost anything goes. As long as you're not hurting another human being, you can almost do anything you want. And I'll tell you, that's an allure to people all over the world, even when they can't speak English. I've seen Japanese just having a ball in the French Quarter, you know.
I know. Well, they especially like the strip shows down there, don't they?
They really do. They really enjoy the strip shows.
I just wanted to make sure we're being candid here, Chef. Anyway, you're a great guy, and you're a better man than Dom DeLuise, even though you look like him. But it's great to have you on. And let me ask you this. When's New Orleans going to be cooking again?
I'm sorry, when New Orleans is going to be cooking as soon as the water's good, as soon as they give us back permission to get into our restaurants, we'll be cooking again.
The president said the other night, actually it was the other day, he said this country couldn't exist without New Orleans. Why is that true?
Because it's the best thing about emotion that we have in our country today is New Orleans. I mean, we have true emotion, and it's because of our people. You know, people worry, I've heard, you know, people talking about the structures in New Orleans. The structures are very important because they're historical, but what makes New Orleans great is our people. And when our people get back here, we ought to have a good time.
Okay, great. Is that a Cajun accent you've got, Paul?
It's a Louisiana accent. I don't know. I am a Cajun. I was born and raised a Cajun. My first language is French. And so if you hear an accent, it's what we call a coon-ass accent.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul Prudhomme, the great chef of our time.
Chris,
yes.
I only got one more thing to say. Good cooking, good eating, good loving. We love you
right
guys.
now, our coverage of Hurricane Rita continues on the Abrams Report.
Coming up, Hurricane Rita gaining strength at this hour, still hitting the Florida Keys with winds over 100 miles an hour. As Rita crosses the Gulf, forecasters say it could hit the Texas coast as a Category 4 hurricane, and it could veer off towards New Orleans as well. Are federal and state officials ready? Plus, the lawyer who took on Big Tobacco now taking on big insurance companies in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. Tens of thousands of lawsuits in the works? And police question one of the last men to see a missing college freshman in Virginia. Is he a suspect? His lawyer says so. The program about justice starts now. Breaking news, Hurricane Rita heading towards the Gulf of Mexico. Key West may have escaped the worst of the storm as Rita's eye passed just south of there, but with rain and wind, it still left a mark. Rita, now a Category 2 hurricane, expected to gain strength. Right now, winds exceeding 100 miles per hour, storm surges are about 6 feet, a hurricane warning in effect for all of the Florida Keys, much of the Florida coast, and it's heading towards the Gulf region, possibly even towards Louisiana. Let's begin with MSNBC's Donna Gregory in Key West, Florida. Donna, what have you seen?
Hey, Dan, we are seeing some major squalls come through here. We just heard from a police spokesperson. There are sustained winds here now of 50 miles an hour, tropical storm force winds. The highest gust that they've recorded here so far is 72 miles an hour. Don't tell that to the crazy people that you'll be able to see behind me. We have people in bathing suits. We have one who actually duct taped herself to look like a bathing suit, but there was nothing on underneath it. The police say, despite all that, there have been no arrests for drunken disorderly conduct. There's been no injuries and no deaths related to this storm, related to Hurricane Rita here in Key West. We do know that 4,000 customers are without power on this island alone, and then there are power outages throughout the Keys. We do know, too, that about half of the people evacuated this island when they were told to do so in the last couple of days. Those were about 26,000 people live here on a permanent basis, so about 13,000 people still left here, or still are left here on this island. And it is very much a party atmosphere for those who are staying, and that is of concern to police because, as you can see, these winds are still whipping, and from the Hurricane Center we're hearing that there's going to be several more hours of this. The tropical storm force winds are expected to be gone and out of here by 11 o'clock Eastern time, so we still have several more hours left of these biting winds. We've seen some minor damage here on Key West. We've had some buildings that have lost awnings, and there's a building across the street from us that the flashing is whipping back and forth. So you'll see us look over several times in each 5-minute period because we're worried that that stuff's going to come flipping around and be a projectile. We've noticed even the plate glass windows next to us are bowing in and out whenever these high gusts come. Most of the buildings on Duval Street, where we are, the very historic, famous Duval Street, have been boarded up, and a lot of the business owners just simply took off. But there are a few establishments, a few bars that are open, and they're attracting some of these people who are coming down here and just acting a very college fraternity type of party atmosphere.
That's what I want to ask you about, Donna. I think for people in the rest of the country, they're going to be saying, what? They're in Key West partying as this dangerous hurricane is going on? Is this a regular thing that occurs in Key West when hurricanes come?
There have been 5 evacuations ordered in this area in the last 2 years. So these people that are staying say, you know, we've heard them cry wolf before in the past. We're not going to do it this time. We're going to stay here. And it's a whole cross-section of people that are staying here. There's homeless people who have no way to get out, people who have no means to get out. A lot of folks have no cars, the same as we saw in New Orleans, so they are simply stuck with no transportation out of here. Then you have business owners who wanted to stay and board up and then just got caught with these heavy winds and then were told not to evacuate. So big cross-section of people, but a lot of the bars are open. It's attractive.
Right, and then there are the idiots. You left them out. Right, okay.
And I did say a lot of bars. There are a few bars that are open. Most of the businesses are closed. Our hotel has no power, but it does have a bar on the lower level. It's a shelter of last resort. They can't turn people away. So you're getting some of the odd people with very flamboyant personalities.
All right,
we saw people, Dan, surfing behind a pickup truck. So they're not taking this very seriously.
No, apparently not. I mean, look, this is only a Category 2. I say only. You know, we sort of start to forget how serious a Category 2 hurricane is. But, all right, well. Donna, thanks a lot. So the question now, where is it going? How bad will it become? Bill Cairns with NBC Weather Plus joins us. Bill, where's it going?
Well, Dan, unfortunately, it looks like this storm is heading for the Gulf. It's going to go west for the next 2 or 3 days and then take a northwest turn, definitely somewhere in the U.S. We'll get to that in a second. First off, I want to tell you, we just had a report of a 102-mile-per-hour wind gust there in Key West. It was a little windy in that shot you just saw there with Donna, but she's protected by buildings. So I think we're going to see a little more destruction there in Key West than we earlier thought, because the worst part of the storm had been to the south side of the eye. Now that's wrapping around. So let's talk about where the storm is going. It could be a Category 3 storm as early as this evening. We're still seeing this storm intensifying. After that, we move out a little bit. The path forecast has not changed a lot. We're still looking at New Orleans being on the northern side of the system, possibly getting a minor storm surge, maybe a little bit of rain, but this would be a glancing blow for New Orleans and kind of a best-case scenario, whereas this would almost be a worst-case scenario, a Category 4 storm heading somewhere between Corpus Christi and Houston. Galveston, which is very familiar with devastating hurricanes, could be in the path of this storm. And this Category 4 thing, Dan, these storms don't stay very intense for a long period of time. They fluctuate, so we're likely to see this going to a Category 4, maybe almost a Category 5, then it will weaken, and then it will intensify. Let's just hope that we time out this cycle of intensification and weakening, and a weakening cycle as it approaches the coastline. That's going to be probably the key thing in the forecast. Almost all of our high-tech computer models take this thing to the Texas coast now. That doesn't look to be too much of a question.
Hey, Bill, I heard another meteorologist say on the air today that this could become one of the worst hurricanes in recent history. Do you agree with that assessment?
Well, if you just look at the odds, I mean, Camille was kind of the benchmark storm for the whole U.S. for about 100 years, and then we had Katrina. So you're thinking Katrina's got to be, what, a once in every 100-year storm. So just the odds alone would tell you that this will not be as bad as Katrina, but a Category 4 storm at landfall will still be one of the worst storms in U.S. history. Probably not as bad as Katrina, because we won't have that double punch. We won't have the storm surge and the flooding. Right. Most of these locations, Dan, are above sea level at least.
Right, and that's, that was the big damage in New Orleans, of course, came from the levees. All right, Bill, thanks a lot. All right, so either it could wreak havoc on Texas or towards Louisiana. FEMA preparing for another disaster.
We are going to be hooked at the hip with the emergency managers to make sure that we're all prepared. We all know what's going to happen, and we all know what they're prepared for and what they're not prepared for.
Okay, but are they really? I mean, are they and other emergency agencies really ready now Joining me now, emergency management expert Craig Marks. Craig is president of Blue Horizons Consulting, an emergency management training and exercise consulting company. Thanks for coming on. Are they ready?
My pleasure. You know, I'm not running for election, but I'm going to tell you yes and no. Let's set the stage. You've got 5 disaster declarations that are going to happen here. You've got Katrina that hit Florida and Louisiana. You've got Rita that's going to hit the Keys. There's damage there. They're going to hit somewhere else. That's 4. Don't forget Ophelia that just hit my home state of North Carolina. That's 5 storms in a month. So the good side is FEMA has stood up. There's only 3,500 people in FEMA, so you've got GUARD and other people, but they've got logistics flowing. They've got things moving that can be readjusted as the disaster unfolds in other places. That's the good side of the ledger. The bad side, or the, where I would say unprepared side, is the brain drain. There are only so many really smart people out there that really get it, that can be the principal federal official or the federal coordinating official that can make things happen with a phone call. We saw, you know, changes after Katrina. They've got to ramp up to get these smart people in place. I think that's where the downfall is going to be. And another thing to consider is we saw a very big disparity in how Mississippi was prepared versus Louisiana. So depending on where it hits, it's always a local disaster. And the local agencies have to be able to hold out for 72 to 96 hours. New Orleans collapsed right away, and that's where we see the mess happening.
And it's interesting that you make the point that with all the resources that have now been directed to the region, you know, we have the sense that, oh, they're stretched so thin, but what you're saying is, actually, this could end up helping because everything's in gear. Everyone knows how serious this could be, and as a result, things are going to move pretty quickly.
Well, for instance, Heater Meals. It's a company that makes pre-prepared meals to give out in disasters. FEMA's laid on 40,000. What they can produce 40,000 a day. They've laid on every one of them. So what they're not using right now in the Gulf Coast, they can move to the next disaster. You've got field medical centers that were sent down there, one from the University of North Carolina, others from the military, that aren't being utilized. They can be packaged up and removed. So in that regard, yes, it's good. But now we look at, say, if we have to evacuate Houston.
Right.
We've not only got to evacuate Houston people, but we've got to take Katrina victims and remove those people. So we just keep moving the pawns around on the chess table.
Bottom line, it's fair to say this is unprecedented.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we are in a cycle of increasing hurricane activity.
Yeah.
It's going to go on for 20 years, and so we need to get ready for it.
All right, Craig, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up, what kind of damage can New Orleans' already damaged levee system withstand? And new developments. In that case, remember, involving a pizza delivery man who died after a bomb strapped around his neck detonated? They've released a new, never-before-seen picture. Your email, send them to abramsreport@msnbc.com. Please include your name, where you're writing from. I'll respond at the end of the show.
The Abrams Report is brought to you by Honda.
Considering its 150-point inspection and 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, you can rest assured knowing that everything about your Honda certified used car is going to work the way it's supposed to. The Honda certified used car. It may be used, but it's still a Honda.
What cooks like butter, spreads like butter, and has a fresh dairy taste like butter without the cholesterol and high saturated fat? Smart Balance Buttery Spread. Smart Balance just received another Best Taste Award and is endorsed by professional chefs. It's the only spread with a patented balance of fats to help increase HDL good cholesterol and avoids trans fat naturally, not artificially as some spreads do. Smart Balance. You're going to love that buttery taste.
Oh, my darling, your last blossom beckons. I am so congested. If only my medicine could treat and help prevent these seasonal nasal allergy symptoms.
Only Nasonex is clinically proven to both treat and help prevent most seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, including congestion. Only Nasonex. Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
I have returned my flower, a changed bee.
For seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, Nasonex is the one to treat and help prevent congestion. Talk to your doctor.
Whatever the season, when a storm gathers, so do we. The State Farm Catastrophe Team. A full-time force of 2,500 people whose only mission is to be there in times of crisis, working with local State Farm agents to bring help and hope to more people than any other company. And we'll be there for you, too.
Let Empire Glass replace your cracked windshield, and we'll give you 24 free dinners to Sherry's Restaurants, where you'll enjoy great food and delicious pies all day, every day. And we offer free mobile service to your home or office. So for the highest quality windshields and 24 free dinners to Sherry's, call Empire Glass today at 503-251-9881. And remember, when you think glass, think Empire.
Call 1-866-SO-FAST-1 to get Comcast's high-speed internet for only $19.99 a month for the first 3 months. Comfortably surf the web with unparalleled protection and 3 free downloads from McAfee Security Solutions, a savings of over $100. A 6,000 kilobits per second connection means faster downloads for online news, music, games, and so much more. Sign up for Comcast's high-speed internet today by calling 1-866-SO-FAST-1 and get the service that's always safe, always fast, always Comcast.
Nearly 4,500 sex offenders unaccounted for after Katrina. From Louisiana to your town, how are they being hunted down? Countdown. MSNBC tonight at 8.
The biggest concern I have right now is storm surge as it relates to the levee system. The levee systems are very wet, they're somewhat weakened, and any type of storm surge would cause flooding, both in our parish and in other parishes.
Yeah, well, New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin's warning, the wind and rain, not the only threat to his city if it gets caught in the path of this new Hurricane Rita. The question, of course, will the levees be able to hold the water? Remember, 80% of New Orleans covered in water after levee breaches around the city sent floodwaters rushing in. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers warns New Orleans could flood again if Rita dumps enough rain over the city in a 6-hour period. Joining me now is Colonel Dwayne Kopinski with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for the New Orleans District. Colonel, thanks very much for coming on the program. We appreciate it. Are you there, Colonel?
I am.
Okay, thank you for joining us. First question, how much can New Orleans withstand in terms of rain, in terms of what category hurricane? Just give us a broad sense.
Sure. Well, of course, it depends where you are. In terms of storm surge, we're fairly well protected to the north from Lake Pontchartrain, and we're closing the ends of the drainage canal so that we could probably stand a 10 to 12 foot storm surge. Of course, in the east we're a little more vulnerable and probably could withstand 5 to 6 foot storm surge. And then of course rain is a completely different story. That is, determined by how much pumping capacity we have for all the drainage pumps that normally drain New Orleans. And, we could have some flooding. If we got 3 inches of rain in 6 hours, we could have up to 2 feet of flooding in some places.
When you say a 5 to 6 foot storm surge, explain to us what that would mean. I mean, as a practical matter, how big a winds are you talking about that would lead to that? How significant a hurricane would cause that?
Actually, I'm not sure I could answer that question. We would just monitor, the state of the lakes and how high the water was rising. I mean, I'm not sure I can correlate that to, category of hurricane.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out how bad would it have to be to cause what you were saying would be the problems?
Well, I guess to put it in perspective, Katrina, which was, people estimate, a Category 4 storm, caused about a 20 to 28 foot storm surge on Lake Pontchartrain.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So even, you know, even a somewhat direct hit would be a serious problem for New Orleans.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, but again, we should point out that as of right now, you just heard Weather Plus predicting that New Orleans will not be hit directly by the hurricane, but these things do change as the days go on. So you were talking about the water pumping. What's the progress? I mean, we've heard that initially 80% of the city was underwater, then we heard that 50%. Where are we at right now?
Well, the city proper is essentially unwatered, and there are, small ponding areas, but otherwise, basically, what you think of the city of New Orleans, there is no more water. There are other areas that still have water, some places 6 foot of water, although those are relatively isolated areas. So, and we've restored quite a bit of pumping capacity. In the city proper, we're at about a third of the capacity of the original design capacity. So, we get better every day.
All right, well, Colonel, keep up the good work. Appreciate it. There is another significant storm brewing. This one is legal, pitting insurance companies against the insured on the Gulf Coast. Some local officials and trial attorneys saying Katrina's victims with hurricane insurance are entitled to collect. Remember, the insurance companies are saying a lot of the damage to homes on the Gulf Coast caused by flooding or water, which most policies don't cover. Now, Mississippi's Attorney General has filed suit against 5 insurance companies, and now one prominent trial attorney who took on tobacco and asbestos industries is setting his sights on those same companies. That attorney is Dickie Scruggs, who joins me now. Thanks a lot for coming on the program. Appreciate it.
Dan, good to see you again so soon under such circumstances.
So give me a quick sense of what the grounds are for the lawsuits.
Well, if Hurricane Rita doesn't clobber New Orleans and the coast yet again, the next hurricane is going to be economic, as more and more of the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of homeowners are realizing now that the international insurance companies who purchased this risk years ago are going to shift the entire risk to either to them, resulting in a wave of bankruptcies of people who never contemplated it, or to the American taxpayer, and that really shouldn't happen.
But why is that the insurance company's fault, that there is specific language in these policies that says it doesn't cover flooding, doesn't cover water damage?
Well, there's one provision in the standard homeowners policy that doesn't, but everyone on the coast, in order to have insurance for the last 6 or 7 years, has had to purchase at additional premium what's known as a hurricane endorsement. And hurricane, everyone knows on the coast, the insurance industry knows. Major hurricanes like Katrina, the greatest peril to life and property is storm surge. You used the term just a minute ago. It's a well-known phenomenon. Storm surge is different from flood. Noah had a flood. Katrina had a storm surge.
All right, let me read you an email. This is from Catherine Barrett, who writes to us from Florida. Anyone who has a home in a hurricane area should know that the water is the worst part, and then flood insurance is available. If these people get the benefit of flood insurance through FEMA, even though they didn't pay the premiums, then why am I paying? What do you say to her?
Well, if you get flood insurance through FEMA, you have to be in what's a common flood zone. In FEMA, only, and you have to pay a premium for that. It's a separate policy from your homeowner policy. Right. And you have to, the homeowner has to pay a separate policy, a premium for it. The fact is, even if you have it, it's only a small fraction of what your homeowner's policy provides.
Right, but the bottom line is, and she wasn't alone in writing that. I mean, we had another viewer, Lois Casson from Florida. Is it my fault that people ignore their risk or remain uninformed about their coverage? Why should my rates increase because of other people's failure to accept responsibility for their own property? We've got a lot of emails like this.
Well, Dan, I've watched homeowner after homeowner. My own home was destroyed by the storm. My family, my classmates, people I grew up with. my hometown was destroyed by this. I've been down there almost every day. I just got back here 5 minutes ago in order to do this interview with you. Your own coverage is doing interview after interview of homeowner who assumed, given the fact that they paid additional premiums for a hurricane endorsement, that they were being covered by the expected and normal peril from a hurricane.
And the argument goes, right, that you're paying for hurricane insurance, and what does that mean if it doesn't cover water? I mean, except that there is something, I guess the argument will go, misleading about saying you're covered for a hurricane and then telling people, well, but I also want to let you know that you're not covered for water.
Well, misleading is a strong term, and it's more or less correct. I prefer to use a more diplomatic term like inconsistent with the standard homeowners policy that does exclude flood damage. Flood is a whole different notion from storm surge, and as people have known for decades.
What do you say to those who say, look, if the insurance companies end up having to cover all of the damage here, or a good part of the damage, insurers are not going to insure people in Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, anywhere near the coast ever again?
Dan, which would you rather do? Pay a premium, a higher premium for coverage, or a high premium for no coverage? But right now, they're not insuring people anyway. What they've sold them is a bunch of worthless paper with a representation that they have hurricane coverage.
Why file suit against the same companies that the Attorney General is already suing?
We're seeking to collect on the full amount of hurricane damage, regardless of the mechanism of damage, whether it be wind or storm surge, the full amount of the homeowner's policy. The Attorney General is attacking the deceptiveness of the policies, but not seeking monetary recovery.
Dickie Scruggs, thanks a lot for taking the time. As you point out, you just raced back from your own home, an area, to do that for us. We really appreciate that. Good luck to you, Dickie.
Thanks, Dan.
Coming up, new developments in the case of missing college freshmen in Virginia. Authorities question one of the last men to see her, a 38-year-old photographer. Police won't say he's a suspect, but his lawyer says he is. He'll join us. But next, new pictures released in the case of a pizza delivery man. Remember this, who died after a bomb strapped to his neck exploded? We'll talk to federal authorities. Will it finally help solve this bizarre case? And in our effort to reunite families split up in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, we're highlighting missing children. Posted on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children website in hopes of reconnecting them with their loved ones. Lara Thornton, age 16, from Gretna, Louisiana, has been missing since August 28th, and her brother, Kenneth Williams, age 12, last known to be with their mother and sister in Gretna, but have yet to be seen since the hurricane hit. If you have any information on what either of them is, please call the Katrina Missing Kids hotline at 1-888-544-5475. We're back in a moment.
Your call will be answered in 30 minutes.
My car ready yet? Whatever happened to customer service? At DHL, it's alive and well. Come on. Call us and see how we're changing the way the shipping business does business.
Hello. Try a delicious apple. Contains all the knowledge of the universe.
Look, I know you're Satan. If I eat this apple, we're gonna have to start wearing clothes and worrying about things like tax brackets and counting carbs. So, no thanks.
Hindsight is easy. It's thinking ahead that's hard. But that's how Liberty Mutual serves our customers and why we're one of the world's leading insurance companies.
Sprint Business is reinventing the yes man, turning the yes man into someone who can work from almost anywhere. And now that Sprint and Nextel have come together, you can work in and out of the office more efficiently, the way 96% of the Fortune 1000 already do. So if saying yes from just about anywhere with speed and confidence makes me a yes man, I'm a yes man.
With Sprint Business, you can make just about any place a workplace. Yes, you can.
In 2000, help-wanted advertising for newspapers was an $8 billion market. In 2004, it was just over $4 billion. So where'd the money go? The answer is that fewer new companies were hiring. Companies became more productive with existing employees, and many business owners started advertising their jobs online. This change eliminated almost $3 billion a year in recruiting costs. Is your company ready to start saving too? I'm David Badstone.
You wish you could do in real life. Now you can do at VX.com. Roadmap to the automotive world.
Finds out how Michael Jackson wants to help victims of Katrina, direct from the King of Pop's dad, Joe Jackson. Live and direct, MSNBC tonight at 9.
The season premiere of Dateline Friday. Twin brothers, one white, the other black. Plus, Viva Longoria, The Interview. NBC Friday, 8/7 Central.
Coming up, new developments in that case involving a pizza delivery man who died after a bomb strapped around his neck detonated. The FBI has released a new picture, but first the headlines.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Colette Cassidy. Here's what's happening. Hurricane Rita has battered the Florida Keys this afternoon with flooding rain and 100-mile-an-hour winds. However, Florida officials say it appears the Keys escaped the worst-case scenario when the Category 2 hurricane hit. Now, Rita is entering the Gulf of Mexico, where it's expected to gain more strength. Forecasters say by this time tomorrow, it could be a Category 4 hurricane. Rita is now expected to slam into Texas late Friday or early Saturday. The Army Corps of Engineers raced to patch New Orleans' damaged levee system as Hurricane Rita approached. Meantime, Mayor Ray Nagin, Louisiana Governor Kathleen Blanco, and other officials strongly urged people along the Louisiana coast to be prepared to evacuate, and said nearly 500 buses are standing by. And while touring Gulfport, Mississippi and New Orleans, President Bush said, quote, "We pray Hurricane Rita is not a devastating storm." The president made his 5th visit to the area left devastated by Hurricane Katrina. Those are your headlines. I'm Colette Cassidy. Now back to the Abrams Report.
We miss her terribly, and we're very worried, and we love her, and she needs to come home.
Janet Pelissara's 17-year-old daughter Taylor disappeared from a Virginia college campus 2 weeks ago. Authorities now suspect she could be a victim of foul play. Over the weekend, police found Taylor Beal's car about 1.5 miles from where she was last seen, with stolen plates on the car. And on Friday, they searched the home of 38-year-old photographer Ben Foley. He's been interviewed by police. He saw Taylor apparently twice the day she disappeared. He's believed to be one of the last people to have seen her. Joining me now is Ben Foley's attorney, Chris Collins. Thanks very much for coming on the program. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Good evening.
Why is it you think your client is a suspect?
Well, the police are calling him a person of interest, which of course is the popular terminology with the media now. I guess I don't acknowledge the distinction. If they suspect that someone might have been involved in a crime, he's a suspect. And frankly, they've confided to me that he is one of several suspects.
All right, so let's understand this. Is it true that he saw her twice on the day that she disappeared?
Yes, it is.
How did they know each other? What was the extent of their relationship?
She came down here in February to visit VCU and to stay with some friends. He was a roommate of some of those friends, so he met her then. He saw her again in April, which is when he took the pictures everybody's talking about, and then of course saw her again when school started.
Did they have a romantic sexual relationship?
Yes.
And he was 38 and she was 17?
Yes.
He's married, correct?
No, he's not married. He has an ex-girlfriend who's the mother of his 2 children.
And what does he say about the last time that he saw her?
Well, you know, I'm not going to share with you anything that he has told me other than what he's told the police. And he told the police that he saw her that afternoon. He walked her to one of the classrooms where she met up with a boyfriend, and that he saw her again in the evening. She borrowed a skateboard, and he walked her back to her dorm.
When you say met up with a boyfriend, you mean a friend, and I think it's probably an important distinction. Is it a friend who happens to be a man, or was it her, quote, boyfriend?
It's my impression that it was a boyfriend, because when she and Ben had met earlier in the afternoon, she was upset that he had, quote, broken up with her over the internet or by a phone message. So I think boyfriend's the correct term.
And he, of course, says that let's clarify, and I understand why you're clarifying this, because you don't want to violate the attorney-client privilege. He told police that the last time that he saw her, she was simply walking away?
Yes, she told him, and I think she told the roommate as well, that she was going skateboarding with some friends.
Where does he live vis-a-vis where the car was found?
Roughly 1.5 miles. It's difficult to describe to people not being familiar with the area. VCU is an inner-city campus, and radiating west of there is an area called the Fan. It was found in the Upper Fan, about 1.5 miles from where he lives.
Will he take a polygraph?
He wanted to take a polygraph. I wouldn't let him take a polygraph.
Why not?
Well, you know, as everybody knows, they're unreliable to begin with. They're open to wide interpretation as to what the results are. And a polygraph offered in the middle of an interrogation is often simply a tool of interrogation, and I'm not going to subject any client to that.
Does he have any crimes in his past? Has he been accused, convicted of any other crimes?
Yes, he has, and I'm not aware of the specifics of those.
Do you know what he was charged with?
No, I don't.
Did he serve time?
I believe he did on one, yes.
Does he have an alibi, per se, as to the basic time as to when she disappeared?
Well, we're hoping that the cameras from the dorm will show him walking her to the dorm and leaving. Can he substantiate where he was after that? No, I don't think anybody saw him.
Do you have any sense of what they took out of his house?
They took some computers, some cameras, some discs. In fact, today he gave me a disc that they were specifically looking for and missed, and I immediately called the police, and we're going to turn that over to them.
Are you expecting he's going to be arrested?
No, I'm not.
Chris Collins, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Program.
My pleasure.
Coming up, the FBI releases a new picture of the pizza bomber. Remember this? The man who was a pizza delivery man, robbed a bank, then died after a bomb strapped to his neck blew up. There is a new picture, could be new evidence. We're going to talk to his brother. Plus, we're tracking Hurricane Rita, expected to become a hurricane Category 4 by tomorrow. Pounding the Florida Keys now, heading towards Texas, could veer off towards New Orleans. Your emails, abrams report@msnbc.com. Please include your name, where you're writing from. I respond at the end of the show.
Precision driving teach us about corporate and investment banking. The right combination of horsepower and agility can produce remarkable results. Corporate and investment banking. Wachovia Securities. Talk to us.
Can you control your destiny? Can you do it with a spoon? Each morning we choose. We say, I'm hungry, or, cookie dough. This is a turning point. So you pour honey-toasted Kashi Gold Lean Crunch with twice the protein and fiber to help you feel healthy, not hungry, all morning long. You like this Go Lean Crunch feeling. Could every day be a good day? Kashi Go Lean Crunch. See how far it takes you.
The drawing rooms of London had not prepared us for this new world. We were overcome by the very fruits and birds and trees.
Introduce yourself to the new classics from today's Ethan Allen.
The air was thick with perfume.
An unexpected marriage of simple elegance and timeless soul.
The seduction was complete.
Discover a modern take on classics. It's Ethan Allen, redefined. In stores now.
Coming up, Hurricane Rita pounding the Florida Keys. The question, where does she go next? Coming up.
Welcome. The rules in Finlandistan, Albaniastan are quite unique. I hope you had a chance to review them.
It's tennis. How different can it be?
It's not easy being out of your element, especially when it comes to insurance and investing. Genworth Financial and your financial professional can help you understand your choices and then make the right ones, so you'll be ready for whatever the future throws your way.
Send in the llamas!
The HP Blade System server powered by Intel Xeon processors. Consolidation made easy.
Hey, Adam. Just so you know, I'm sending Gus to the client meeting.
Why him?
Because Gus is a good conversationalist.
Is he?
Yes, and you answer everything with a question.
I do?
You just did.
Really?
Clients in Memphis don't like that.
They don't?
No.
Why not? Here's she going.
They chose you for a reason, and you chose Embassy Suites for a reason, like our nightly manager's reception. Embassy Suites Hotels.
Hurricane Rita. For live reports and up-to-the-minute tracking, turn to MSNBC's meteorologist Sean McLaughlin and the NBC Weather Plus team. As Rita takes aim at the Gulf Coast, how the government will use lessons from Katrina to prevent this kind of devastation again. Scarborough Country. MSNBC tonight at 10.
There are new developments in the case of a pizza delivery man killed in a complex and bizarre bomb plot. Remember, police were called after Brian Wells robbed a bank. Within minutes, they found him. It's back in 2003. Wells pleaded for help, saying that a bomb would detonate on his neck. Minutes later, it happened. The question remains, was he just a victim or was he somehow involved? The FBI has just released these never-before-seen pictures of Wells waiting to deliver a robbery note at a bank in Erie, Pennsylvania. Despite the bomb locked around his neck, you can see that bulge under his shirt. The FBI says his demeanor depicts a man who did not know he would die soon as a result of the bomb. Now, Wells described the plot before he died, telling police that he'd gone to deliver pizzas, was grabbed by men who forced him to wear the bomb, gave him a gun, concealed it in a cane, and ordered to rob the bank. And with those orders, complex instructions he had to follow to find keys and combination codes to disable the bomb. Just before the bomb squad arrived, and some 40 minutes after he walked into the bank, the bomb exploded, killing Brian Wells. John Wells is Brian Wells' brother, and he supports a webpage, brianwells.net, that gives details of the instructions that Brian had to follow and criticizes how the police handled the case. Thanks very much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So what do you make of this new picture? What does it tell you?
The new picture didn't tell me anything. I wish those pictures would have been released 2 years ago, along with the entire notes that the police had that day. All 9 pages in their entirety. And I think if people seen those notes and seen those pictures 2 years ago, this case could have been solved. They would have had the tips they needed to solve who killed my brother.
And you are, just so we're clear, you are convinced that your brother was simply abducted, that he was forced, that he was given instructions, that he was trying to follow, and that he simply wasn't able to follow them all because he was ultimately arrested.
Brian was simply a bomb hostage that day, and the police had my brother in custody for 46 minutes. The bomb squad was not called for 32 minutes, and my brother told the police exactly the description of the people, of the gang of people who did this to them. If they would have been following those clues, this case would be solved by now.
He was what? At that time, he'd gone to literally deliver pizzas, and the next thing that you know of what? I mean, give us the time frame as to what you know for certain and when you believe that he was abducted.
He was abducted around 2 o'clock in the afternoon when he went to deliver the pizzas at the transmission tower site. He went into the bank sometime between 2:20 and 2:30. The first 911 call came in at 2:32. He was already in the McDonald's parking lot reading the next instructions. I believe that police apprehended him at about 2:33. They did not call the bomb squad until 3:04. The bomb did not go off until 3:18.
Right.
The cameras did not get there until after 3 o'clock, half an hour into the explanation my brother was giving the police. None of that was caught on film because my brother had told them that before the cameras got there.
Let me ask you one other question. This is from an FBI unnamed source in the AP. Brian was a human being who died because he may have trusted people he should not have trusted, and he possibly misjudged the purpose for his being at the bank that day.
The only people he trusted that he shouldn't have trusted were the Pennsylvania State Police, who did not offer any help to him that day. Those were the only people he mistrusted. My brother was not involved in this in any way, shape, or form.
All right, John Wells.
I'd like the Pennsylvania State Police and the FBI to explain their actions that day.
Well, that's who we're going to talk to now. John Wells, thank you,
Thank you
for coming on the program. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Bob Rudge is an FBI special agent who is working the case, and he joins us by phone. Thanks a lot for taking the time.
Thank you.
All right. Why is it that you still aren't able to say that he was simply a victim?
Well, there are two scenarios that remain on the table. The first, of course, is that Brian was actually a victim, was accosted by an individual or a group of individuals, and then murdered. That is still being vigorously pursued by law enforcement. That is a very viable situation. However, we are also looking at the possibility that Brian may have been duped or tricked or convinced in some way to participate in this crime, certainly not knowing the final outcome. The obvious outcome, murder. Brian was a murder victim. We certainly agree with that.
When you say he was duped or tricked, I mean, what is it? Why does it really matter if he was under some false pretense taken and somehow put in this position versus literally abducted? I mean, are you saying that he may have actually agreed to rob the bank?
Well, first of all, it doesn't matter in the conduct of our investigation whether he was duped or he was a total victim. We're conducting our investigation in a thorough manner in that regard. But we just can't answer the question right now whether or not Brian was somewhat of a willing participant, told that he had some plausible deniability if caught, and then could certainly give a very viable story as to what happened to him. So we just don't know if that's the case, or very possibly he was actually a total victim and confronted and accosted by an individual or group of people.
But as a willing participant, the scenario goes that he would have agreed to allow to have a bomb placed locked around his neck?
Correct. Not knowing, of course, that it was a real an active device.
But he told the police that it was.
Yes, he did tell police it was, and I believe as the events played out that day, I believe that Brian may have come to realize that he was possibly tricked or duped into this particular type of situation.
But you would agree, it seems clear when the police arrive, he knows he's in grave danger.
He was actually saying that the device was going to go off.
Right.
He was saying that he was forced to wear the device. So yes, I mean, that is totally legitimate and completely true. However, we just don't know if prior to that, if he was convinced in some way that the device was not real, was not a working device.
But I don't understand. I mean, just lay out for us a scenario. I mean, he suddenly learns somehow when he gets stopped that the device is real, and yet he didn't know it before?
Well, and in actuality, his demeanor at the time of the stop did not produce a lot of information relative to who was responsible for putting the device on him. He did not offer a complete description, as John puts forward, as to who was the person or person that
And what do you say to those who say that the authorities in general are simply trying to cover up for the fact that they took so long to respond?
Well, I just disagree with the premise. First of all, you're dealing with a bomb squad that is made up of part-time members from a smaller local police department. They responded as quickly as they could. They weren't sitting at the police station awaiting a bomb call. You have various officers doing various duties, many of whom were home at the time of the call, that responded as fast as they could.
All right, well, Agent Rudge, if you do get new information, please let us know, either way, because we really do.
Certainly. I mean, it's a case that we need to solve.
Yeah.
It's a case the family needs closure on, and we're going to do that.
And, you know, I can understand why John Wells, knowing what he knows, is upset. I'm not saying that makes him right, but I can understand why he's very upset.
Absolutely. I empathize with the family.
All right, Special Agent Rudge, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Coming up. Where's Hurricane Rita heading as it gathers strength? We'll check in with the National Hurricane Center just out with new information on this storm.
Your Smart Start listens.
You need 4 bowls of Smart Start to get the vitamin C in 1 bowl of Total.
Your grape nuts.
More than 10 bowls to match Total's calcium.
Chef recommends 2 spoons.
2 spoons?
Special K for you.
And even 20 bowls of original Special K couldn't equal the whole grain in Total. Only Total has 100% whole grain, 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals, and 100 calories.
We'll take Total. Sorry, no substitutions.
Total, 1 bowl, 100%.
I want to play golf every day.
I want my own business.
I want what she wants.
I want my grandson to spend my money.
Get what you want with the power of the pyramid. Transamerica's experts offer tailor-made insurance, investment, and retirement solutions to help you achieve anything you want.
I want to run with the bulls.
Well, almost anything. Transamerica, the power of the pyramid.
He's a computer science professor from Iowa. He's slightly distracted. And this is Take on Orbit, the game that pits other travel services against Orbitz.com.
Today's contestants need a hotel in Hawaii for under $100 with a golf course. Ready? Go.
Hotel reservations.
Yes.
Done.
Orbitz makes it easy to find the right hotel at a great price.
Log on to OrbitzGames.com for your chance to be a daily winner of free travel. Visit OrbitzGames.com today.
It has a legendary reputation for reliability, durability, and quality. It's been named to Car and Driver's 10 Best list 18 times. It was the first gasoline-powered production automobile to be certified as a low-emission vehicle in the U.S. And the best part is, it's used. Proof that how you start out in life is a good indication of how far you'll go. Honda certified used cars. See, it may be used, but it's still a Honda.
We have loads of puppies just looking for a home.
We've got a steak with your name on it.
Come on down to Bill's Kayak Shop for the adventure.
If you can afford radio advertising, you can afford cable TV. Comcast Spotlight can make it happen. And with Comcast Spotlight, you can target the customers you want to reach. So why settle for
Manja
when you can have?
Put your business on the fast track. Call Comcast Spotlight to find out more about advertising on cable.
Comcast High-Speed Internet is the only high-speed internet provider that can bring you the wonderful world of Disney connection. Now on Comcast.net, you get cartoons, movie trailers, music videos, great games, and more. Access free premium content from Disney's Blast, an ad-free world of games and activities for kids. Play in Disney's Toontown, a 3D world where your family lives the life of a toon. And get specially discounted premium memberships for subscribers. Only at Comcast.net. To get Comcast High-Speed Internet, call now.
NBC next. Maybe not from new taxes, but see how Katrina's billion-dollar cleanup could cost you big in other ways. Hardball, MSNBC next. MSNBC tonight. Rita finds out how Michael Jackson wants to help victims of Hurricane Katrina. Direct from the King of Pop's dad, Joe Jackson. And you won't believe who's already signed on to participate. Rita Cosby live and direct. MSNBC tonight at 9.
That is the scene down in the Florida Keys, where Hurricane Rita is causing heavy rains and winds. We're checking in again on the path of Hurricane Rita, now a Category 2, passing through the Florida Keys, picking up steam as it heads west towards Louisiana and Texas, expected to become a Category 4. Ed Rappaport, Deputy Director of the National Hurricane Center, who is tracking the storm, joins us now. Thanks a lot, Ed. So what do we know about where the storm is heading now?
Right now, the center is in the Straits of Florida, just south of the Florida Keys, and fortunately, the worst of the weather stayed just south of Key West, perhaps only 10 or 15 miles south of Key West. The storm is moving towards the west, 15 miles per hour, pretty good clip, and we think that's going to continue for the next day or two. Here's our projection for the forecast track, starting from here, the Straits of Florida, into the central Gulf of Mexico within the next 24 to 36 hours, and ultimately a bend more towards the northwest, which looks like a landfall at this stage for the middle and upper Texas coast late in the week, early in the weekend. There is some error involved, obviously, in long-range forecasts, so the risk really runs from southwestern Louisiana through the Texas coast to extreme northeastern Mexico.
New Orleans not covered in that range that you have there. Would you expect that New Orleans would still get some rain?
We would think that there will be some rain extending as far east as southeastern Louisiana, even if this track is right. Fortunately, the chances of hurricane conditions are under about 5%, but we do think that there is a possibility, at least at this early stage, of another 1 to 3 inches of rain in southeastern Louisiana. We'll wait and see about the details of the track and also whether the storm expands as it moves past that area.
Ed, real quick, best case scenario, what would it be?
Best case scenario would be for this to dissipate over the Gulf. Unfortunately, once the hurricane makes it into the Gulf, particularly this time of year, they don't dissipate and they only really have land to hit. There's no place for them to go without hitting land, and it looks like the upper Texas to mid-Texas coast, maybe Louisiana, maybe a little farther south, is the area at greatest risk from Hurricane Rita.
All right. Ed Rappaport, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up with another storm spinning towards Louisiana. Last night I said it's time to start playing the blame game so we can make sure we have the right people in place running the show. Your response is coming up.
You're a homeowner and you need cash. Call or log on to ditech.com and take the Ditech Challenge. We'll guarantee you the lowest rate and fee and help you to consolidate debts and lower your payments, even if your credit is less than perfect. Call 1-800-80-DITECH.
Sprint Business is reinventing the yes man, turning the yes man into someone who can work from almost anywhere. And now that Sprint and Nextel have come together, you can work in and out of the office more efficiently, the way 96% of the Fortune 1000 already do. So saying yes from just about anywhere with speed and confidence makes me a yes man. I'm a yes man.
With Sprint Business, you can make just about any place a workplace. Yes, you can.
Help Point, how can I help you?
Hi, isn't I just got rear-ended by some yahoo?
Are you okay?
Well, I'm fine. My car's a little busted up, though.
No problem. We'll take care of it.
How fast can Farmers Help Point service get your car fixed after an accident? Well, you get the idea. Help Point is free with your policy. To find an agent near you, call 1-800-FARMERS.
All I want is a room somewhere, a business trip beyond compare. Hampton keeps me on my game. Folks who care and know my name. All I want is all the comforts that I need, helping me to succeed. Wouldn't it be lovely?
We're investing over $1 billion in North America. It began with a new design and research center and test track in California, a new engineering facility in Michigan, and now a state-of-the-art assembly plant in Alabama, creating thousands of new jobs across the country. The result will be a Hyundai like you've never seen before.
Oh, my darling, your last blossom beckons. I am so congested. If only my medicine could treat and help prevent these seasonal nasal allergy symptoms.
Only Nasonex is clinically proven to both treat and help prevent most seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, including congestion. Only Nasonex. Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
I have returned my flower, a changed bee.
For seasonal nasal allergy symptoms, Nasonex is the one to treat and help prevent congestion. Talk to your doctor.
Would you like to turn your equity into cash you can use for any purpose? Just log on to ditech.com for your free online e-appraisal. Right now we're offering a low fixed-rate home equity loan with a flat fee of just $49. Call 1-800-DITECH-1.
Hurricane Rita. For live reports and up-to-the-minute tracking, turn to MSNBC's meteorologist Sean McLaughlin and the NBC Weather Plus team.
We're back. I've had my say. Now it's time for your rebuttal. Last night, in my closing argument, I said that time has come to assess blame for the mistakes made in the aftermath of Katrina. So we know exactly who's supposed to be making the important decisions, supervised by people we can count on and who can best allocate money and resources. Ron Brock. I've worked in private industry all of my life, and we play the blame game on a daily basis. We call it accountability, not because we're delighted to fire or reprimand or demote each other, but because it follows when costly mistakes are made that cannot be repeated. Different takes on who is to blame from Linwood, New Jersey, Jacob Ressis. You're absolutely right, Dan. And then Jacob goes on to say, the first person we should turn to in order to assign blame is Michael Chertoff. But Peggy in Cincinnati, where do we start? Mayor Nagin, inept. We should have gotten those people on buses. Governor Blanco should have called for the military. Also last night I spoke to the 73-year-old grandma arrested for allegedly looting $63 worth of sausage and beer from a deli near New Orleans right after Katrina hit. She spent 16 days in prison, held on $50,000 bond. Becky in Michigan City, Indiana, says sarcastically, I say throw the book at her for trying to provide needed food for her family and give the rapists a broom and a pat on the back. House said the police will probably dismiss the charges and maybe even give her an apology. Pamela in Warren County, Ohio, she deserves more than an apology. I frankly am thinking along the lines of punitive damages. From Tucson, Arizona, Kurt Botker, though. Why are you giving so much airtime to a sausage thief? Let me get this straight. She walked into the deli with her own sausages? And a Washington State man who was sexually assaulted as a child, admitted to killing 2 released sex offenders, has asked for the death penalty so he can meet sex offender Joseph Duncan in the afterlife, but now is pleading guilty. So we asked, would jurors have sympathy for him? Apparently the answer is yes. Mary Lou Higgins in Vegas. Michael Mullen is an absolute hero for ridding the country of 2 slimeball child molesters. Drop all charges against this wonderful man. Ashley in Colorado Springs. I was molested as a child, and for 2 men to be removed from the world for doing such a crime makes me feel as if I've gained a little something back. Thank you to that courageous gentleman. Boy, you guys think he should... All right. Abe's report. One word at MSNBC.com. We go through them at the end of the show. You gotta love those. I said it last night. I'm gonna say it again. I really like our new graphic look. Very spicy and immediate. That does it for us tonight. Coming up next, Hardball's Chris Matthews.